Morning, everyone.
Morning, sir.
Good
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. You can see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces also. Good morning to all of you from me. Okay. Shall we start today's class?
Yes, sir.
Great, great. So, offline batch ಅವರು ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
Sir, ನಾನು
Hear your
ಸಮೀರ್.
voice. ಜೋರು ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ. ಸಮೀರಣ್ಣ
Good morning, sir.
ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸು.
ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್.
ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಅದೇ ಹಣೆ ಬರೋಣ ಮತ್ತೆ. ಹರ್ಷಿತಾ ಬಂದ್ಲೋ ಇಲ್ವಾ? I still remember Sunday class, ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ she met me outside the campus. Silent ಒಳಗೆ ಬರಕ್ ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ಲು. Then I asked her what happened. She said, no sir, I was actually sleeping. Alarm also didn't ring. My parents also didn't wake me up. So I could not attend the class. So 8 ಗಂಟೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 7 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ I don't know if they would have ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಅಂತ. Right. So before we start, keep one thing in mind. Class, okay, 8 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ start ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್. Online, now we have class at 7. Your exams are coming up next month, right? Prepare ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? You are, right. ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ? At what time you waking up?
Sir, at 6.
6.
5:30.
5:30. So keep one thing in mind. What your technique ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಒಳ್ಳೆದು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. For example, I am not a morning person. I am a nocturnal person. ಅಂದ್ರೆ I like to stay back late at night and read. Because ನನ್ನ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನು? There will not be any disturbance. ಯಾರು ಇರಲ್ಲ. So I can easily peaceful ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. But mornings, for example, now, for example, my cat is troubling at the back. ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನೋ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So full disturbance ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. So I usually prefer reading at night. One advantage ಏನು ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, as I mentioned, peaceful ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾಡಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಅಗೇನ್ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಹೊತ್ತು ಆ ಹಗಲೊತ್ತೇ ಎದ್ದಿರಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ವಿಲ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟೇ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಟ್ ನೈಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೀಡ್? ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್. ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಲೋ. ಬಟ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್, ಎದ್ದು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಓದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ you're out of the way, ಮುಗ್ದಂಗಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. You're already done with that. But night there may be chances that ಏನೋ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಒಂದು 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಲ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಹೋಗಿ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆನೇ ಎಷ್ಟರಾಗಿತ್ತು. You woke up only in the morning next, right? Or if you did not study, the entire day is gone without reading. But morning, once you read, you're out of the way. So understand what your style is first. People may say ಇಲ್ಲ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆನೇ ಓದ್ಬೇಕು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಓದ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ it may be difficult for you. For example, people ಎಷ್ಟು ಸತಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದೋದು ಅಂತ. Till now I have not followed it, but I still recommend it. I actually, in fact, ಒಳಗಿಟ್ನ book I recently got this book as an award, The 5 AM Club by Robin Sharma. So I made it a point, I will wake up at 5 o'clock and read the book at 5 o'clock. So ಬೇಗ ಎದ್ದಂಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, book ಓದಂಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. So that was my policy. So depending on your style, wake up and you can read. Next point, there are many offline friends, online friends also here, right? Can I hear a nice good morning from you?
Good morning, sir.
Morning,
Morning,
sir.
sir.
Online crowd is more than the offline crowd then.
sir. Morning, sir.
The online crowd is more than the offline crowd then, right? So let us see who will show more energy today. So welcome to the revision class. E class alli I will not make it a one-way communication. I want all of you to take part, right? And while that happens, what we also do is, offline batch alli I had taken a lot of examples to explain various concepts. I will be repeating such examples so that you can easily remember the concepts using the examples. The problem is online batch alli, I think Nagashri ma'am took the class, no? I think she would have taken other examples. The example explanation may be different, but eventually answer will be same. The concept will be same. Explanation to the concept will be different. So what I would want from you today, I will not make it a one-way communication. I will just discuss what is the point to be discussed. I will initiate the conversation. I want you to explain to me. and to your friends, right? So instead of making it like a class, like a lecture today, we will make it like a discussion today. Am I clear with that? Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
I want all of you to participate. I want all of you to unmute your, unmute, and also share the video, show your beautiful faces and handsome faces, and explain it to the class. What is the meaning of it? Before again directly jumping into it, let us quickly understand some tricks and techniques to understand the concepts not only in BCR but in any subject, right? See, in law and BCR, this paper especially, BCR kinta law and other taxation subjects, there are a lot of things to remember. How can you remember so many things at once, right? ಎಷ್ಟು sections in ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಳಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು concepts in ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಳಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Always when you try to learn or try to understand something new, when you're trying to understand something new, understand with the help of some examples or stories or some other incidents in life. If you look at any of my books, I still have written some examples in the corner. Even in offline class, when I used to take the class, I used to explain all the concepts with one example, so that next time when you read that concept, for example, I have a book here. If you look at, I open a random page, non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication and takshana, what should come to your mind? An incident ಬರ್ದಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, a story ಬರ್ದಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, right? On offline batch, do you remember what comes to mind when you say non-verbal communication?
Police examples, sir.
Police example, sir.
Yes.
Police, sir. Police symbol.
I'm sure you will never forget that example. For the benefit of online batch, what the police example is, I'll tell you in some time. But that is how I started my class. That no plans of starting with that police example, but eventually something happened to me during the journey, so that eventually became the story for the class, story for the entire session. So you can make a note of that. Enaitu, non-verbal alli enaitu, that 3 pointing 3 anta. So I will explain to the online batch a little later. But any topic na, when the faculty explains you, if he tells you a story or an incident or an example, make a note of that. Along with the concept, remember the story, because I will tell you 10 characteristics of effective communication, 5 characteristics of effective communication. Ashtu ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. But if I tell that with a story, or movie story, that you can easily remember. Yes or no? How many of you watched Kantara? Almost everyone, right? If I ask the story, you will tell me story from starting to finish. Full ಹೆಂಗಿತ್ತು ಅದೇ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಾ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ. But if I ask you to tell me the chapter names of BCR in the same order, can you tell me? I don't think so. So your way of recollecting, ಯಾವ ತರ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಸ್ಟೋರಿನ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, you will easily do it much better. So don't try to by heart anything in any subject, because ನೀವು by heart ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಾಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಸ್ಟಕ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಫಾಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಏನು ಬರಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. It will be very difficult for you to understand, right? So what you should do in that case, always understand the concept. That's why even my offline class, when I took the class, I did not solve many questions. Passage, comprehension, précis writing, I did not solve many questions. What I did was, I explained the tricks to solve the question. You can solve the question on your own. You are capable of doing that. You should know how to solve the question, how to approach that question, right? So we'll be looking at such techniques once again today, revising those techniques also today. But when you are learning something new for the first time, understand with the help of some examples. Examples ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Even today, if at all we discuss any examples pertaining to any concept, make a note of that example next to the concept. So in revision time, when you look at the concept, example pakka iddaga, even if you don't remember what the concept is, example nodida takshana you can easily remember. So for example, non-verbal communication. What would I have written? Traffic police 3 symbol. First, that is non-verbal communication. He communicated to me non-verbally. I understood what it is. The message was conveyed. It was an effective communication. We came to conclusion also, right? Effective communication, I brought in that example. So understand the technique. ಯಾವ ತರ ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ, using stories or examples, or if a faculty, any faculty does not give you a story or example while the explanation happens, ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? You understood the concept, no? Create your own example. I sold to my friend, he paid me back. ಅದನ್ನ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ, because you can't remember all the concepts at once, but our brain is configured in such a way that you can remember any number of stories or any number of examples. I may ask you to list out the last 50 movies which you have watched. You can tell me the review summary of all 50 movies. But if I ask you to summarize what is there in the book, you cannot, right? Because our interest ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So use that technique here when you study, right? ಆ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ನೇ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡು you can understand very, very easily. So what I'll do today is, again, I will share my screen. I have prepared, summary notes ಇದೆ. I had shared it with Shetty sir. If it's not there, I'll share it with Prasanna sir. I'll ask him to share it with you so that we can look at it simultaneously. Really, questions are not added. Practice questions are not added. In fact, I told in the offline batch, practice questions are very, very important. You should practice a lot of questions because English is one subject wherein you can't be experts overnight. Yes. For example, you may have a different mother tongue. If I suddenly ask you to study French or understand French by tomorrow, can you do it? No. How will you learn a new language? You will first watch, you will ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು, you will hear a lot of people speak, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, or word by word ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ, ಕೆಲವು ಮೂವೀಸ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀರಾ, you will watch some TV shows, right? So you will understand slowly and steadily. You can't be experts overnight. Similarly, the English which you have learned till now is different. But what is the subject here? When we say 40 marks English, it is business correspondence and reporting. Now here, when we say business correspondence and reporting, we are mostly dealing with proper English with grammar and business English. Right? Yes or no? So idanna you already know the English. Idanna whatever you looked at, idioms, phrases, adudella you school indanu you would have learned. But here again, when I ask a question for the first time, you will say, anyways, it's very easy. Direct, indirect speech ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. It's very easy. Why is it explaining in class ಅಂತನೂ you would have felt in class. But when I asked a question, I know many people stumbled. Oh, ಇದಾ ಅಂತ you will be confused. So ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಓದಿದ್ರೂನು it will be like a revision year. ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ನೆನಪಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, right? You can't remember everything whatever you studied in school. You may feel it is easy, but suddenly when you actually open the book or exam paper ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ you will go blank. You may not properly remember what all you studied, because that exam atmosphere will make it like this. But the technique there is practice. I've told other subjects you can't implement this more, but more than other subjects, English this is required. You need to practice a lot. For example, idioms. The most common example we have used in classes, beat around the bush. Yes, beat around the bush andre ಏನು ಅಂತ we know now. ಸುದ್ದಿ ಬಳಸಿ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಡ, correct point ಇದ್ದ. Don't beat around the bush andre. Yes. So if you had not heard about this idiom, would you know the answer? No. But again, there is a technique how to approach idioms in the break ಮಾಡಿ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ we have understood. We will discuss that. But one advantage of that is ಅದರ idioms ಬಂದಾಗ or ಕೆಲವು direct indirect speech ಬಂದಾಗ, especially idioms ಬಂದಾಗ, they will not ask something out of the box. From what I have seen, book ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 20-25 idioms ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ and past exam question papers ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ questions ಇದೆ. Your questions may be easy or similar, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಕೇಳಿರೋ ತರನೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So you may feel somewhat ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಓದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ. So for that what you need to do, ನೀವು ಗೂಗಲ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ idioms ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 50 idiom ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ your question may come from that only. Because again, idioms ಕೊಟ್ರು they will give the idioms, ask the idioms in the exam paper, which is frequently at least talked about, at least ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ತರ. ಯಾರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರೋ ತರ they will not ask in exam. So when you look at some famous idioms or commonly used idioms, 50-75 ಓದಿದ್ರು it's very easy. You can actually ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಕಾಂಪ್ರಿಹೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಎನಿ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇನ್ BCR especially, you need practice. Because as I mentioned, English is not a language that you can be an expert overnight. You can have elementary and working level knowledge, but proficient knowledge ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ it takes time for you to practice. So my first point was the study material. Study material na don't leave even a single practice question. Yes, full book ಅಲ್ಲಿ examples, concepts ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, explanations ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, workings ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. At the end there are practice questions also, and some practice questions are with answers and without answers also. Make it a point to solve each and every practice question of all the chapters. because many a times it's a copy paste of what is there in the study material only. If you look at your RTPs, MTPs, and previous year's question paper also, in book they would give the same thing or similar thing at least. Now, I can't guarantee about direct indirect speech because you know the technique. In Madhudanta, we'll discuss the technique also. But other questions, it may be same or similar only. So don't ignore the study material and revision material also, which I've shared. I'll share it with Prasanna sir right now so that he can share it with you directly if you have not got it. Okay. Its concept is very simple. You need a lot of practice. And moving to the next important point, BCR. Most of the faculties, teachers, very institutional, when they say this paper, law and BCR, the main focus will be on law. Yes or no? Law ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, LLP ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ತಲೆನೋವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ. But not many will talk about BCR. But in fact, BCR ಅಲ್ಲಿ you can score a lot of marks. It is very easy. And I told you in the class, easy ellirutte, difficult your point of view, easy your point of view, I've explained in class. But BCR is very easy for you to score. The problem is, because it is easy to score, they will not give you easy marks. Yes, because it's very easy. They will not give you 5 on 5. For example, summary writing. You are supposed to write a summary. You will write a summary. But if your language is not up to the mark, grammar also issue ide, or sentence is not complete, or the intention is not correct. If you think you've written correctly also, finally they will give you 3 or 4. Because 5 on 5 could be correct, because all of you are experts in BCR now after the class, right? So grammar subjects, vocabulary, if you score well, 40 on 41 bitre, pass agobidtare. Then the demand will be less, supply will be more. Right? So because it's easy to score, they will give you less marks. So for that, your answers have to be to the point. Correct answer. There is no, you should not give him any scope for him to reduce the marks. Right? So to the point, correct, he can't even reduce the score there. They may still reduce it during summary writing, pressy writing, but English, direct to indirect speech, 1 mark question. When you convert from direct to indirect speech easily, where will they get the mark? Because your answer is correct. So always, again, don't beat around the bush also in other summary writing and pressy writing. Be always to the point and correct. You need some practice also, right? And they will not give you very easy questions. Rama told Sita, I love you. Very simple. Because they know you will score 1 mark. So exam you have to start thinking, correct. Situation you need very good practice. Technique we will discuss. 1 or 2 questions also if you want we can see. But from your end, you need to practice a lot. So before actually diving in, we already spent some time. Before actually diving in, again, one general point about the exams itself. How many of you have started revisions already from your end? Please tell me, unmute and tell me. How many of you have started revising already? Study revise what are you doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Only 1 person. Dobrena?
Yes, sir, we have started.
There will be.
We started, sir.
Started, sir.
Just started. Okay. Keep one thing in mind. Revision classes. Why do we have revision classes at CAPS? Now class modadella madirtivi. In fact, I took more than my allotted time only in offline class because I was giving more explanations, more practical explanations for that. So it took a lot of time, more than what was allotted to me. But all my classes are okay. If you don't revise before the exam, it's a waste. It's an absolute waste. Right? It has happened with me also. It will happen with you also. We have not written an exam yet, professional exam yet. BCom, so PUC, 10th ಎಲ್ಲ, it's nothing compared to what you would write now. But ಈ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಭಯ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮುಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪೀಪಲ್, as soon as you go inside, you feel like you are writing the final exam only now, or if your life is dependent on this, you will feel in your head. Yes, the same thing happened with me also when I told people that I am doing CA entrance exam. Back then it was CPT, common proficiency test. When I wrote CPT exam ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನೀನು CA ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀಯಾ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಾ, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ಯಾ ನೀನು, ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಮೂಡ್ ಆಫ್. ವಾಟ್ ಡಿಡ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್? ಪೀಪಲ್ 4-5 ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ, 3-4 ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 3 ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೌದಾ, ನಾನು ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಹೆಡ್ before even writing the exam. I have not even started studying. I had not even started studying back then. But non pass agalla because kashta exam. Yes, how many people have told you this? Have people told you this or no? CA kashta exam easy pass agalla. ಈ ದೇವರು ನಮಗೆ ರೇಟ್ ಕಿವಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದೇನಕ್ಕೆ? ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಕ್ಕೆ. ನೀವು ತಲೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ you are gone, you will never pass. Take it from me in writing, you will never pass. If you keep that it is very difficult, pass agalla, ತುಂಬಾ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾನ್ಸೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನೆವರ್ ಪಾಸ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಮೀ ದೆನ್? ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳೋದು CA. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಐ ವೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಮೈ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪೋಕ್ ಟು ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ PUC ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ, ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಆರ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್. ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಹರ್, ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಐ ಟುಕ್ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್. Why are you spoiling your life taking commerce? Why didn't you take science? And she is scolding me there, a teacher from school. ಏನೇ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಲೈಫ್ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀಯಾ? ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ I was scared. So ಎಲ್ಲ ತಲೆ ತುಂಬಿಸಿ ಇಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. But again, as I mentioned, ಹಿಂಗೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು. What happened with me then? I thought, anyways, I will not pass. At least let me go and see how the exam works. ಅಲ್ಲಿ OMR ಶೀಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತೆ, ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತೆ, ABCD ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತಂತೆ, ಯಾವ್ದೋ ರಾಂಗ್, ಇದು ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತೆ, ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಔಟ್. ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರೋಣ, ನನ್ನ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಾಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ ತರ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಐ ವೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೋಟ್. ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಮೆನಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪಕ್ಕ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬರೆದ್ರು, half an hour ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಔಟ್, 1 hour ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ದೆನ್ ಟೈಮಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇರೆ ಇತ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ. ದೇ ವೆಂಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಸರ್ಪ್ರೈಸ್ಡ್. ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟಕ್ 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 ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್. ನಾನೇ ಒಬ್ನೇ ಕೂತಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲಿ, ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಏನೋ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ನಂಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಹಾಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್? ಐ ವೆಂಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಹಾಲ್. ಐ ರೋಟ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಐ ನೋ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಅವಾಗ ಐ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್, ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ we didn't use calculator only. It was mostly like theoretical accounts only in my attempt. Hello, we could have easily done without using a calculator. So that was a weird attempt back then. But hingo barde kotte, and the result I didn't even bother. I was in college, I think I was doing BCom already, and CPT result bantu. There was someone texted me. I opened the message, pass. I passed. The first person, I'm surprised. How did I pass in that? It's not like random lakkal pass adenta, because I'm a fairly intelligent. I'm not very. I'm a fairly intelligent student, so I know how to solve questions. Ella common sense ಮಾಡಿ I solved. Class ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ, ಏನು ಮಾಡಿ I solved. Then I passed. But later I started thinking, okay, without even opening the books, I passed. What if I had opened the books? I would have got a rank only. Right? Just pass ade. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏನು ನುಗ್ದಂಗೆ pass ade ನಾನು. But I mean, you can't, someone can't push you in foundation exam because OMR sheet ಇದಾವೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಾನು OMR. There was no descriptive subjects. There was no way someone can push you there. But I passed. But then I started thinking, what, without studying I passed. What if I had studied? Then I realized all this noise, external noise. Hangagalla, ingagalla, negative energy, keep it out till you write the exam. Right? Till you write the exam, don't pay heed to any negative comments, any negative things. Think positive, think that you will pass. Having said that, my next question, I think online people can answer, offline or answer madbidi, offline batch ಅವರು. You attended the BCR class, right? Ella class no, most of you have attended. You may have started revision also. I'll be starting the revision class today. I'll be doing some revision. How much do you think you will score in BCR paper? BCR part ಅಲ್ಲಿ 40 marks ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? How much do you think you will score? Can you please unmute and tell me? Will you score or no?
25 to 30.
25 to 30. Who was that?
Sir, Madhu.
Tell your name also, because I'm not familiar with many of you guys. So tell your name and tell the answer whenever you unmute.
Sir, I am Madhumita. I only told.
Madhumita.
25
Okay,
to
you
30.
will score 25 to 30.
Yes, sir.
Then others? ಯಾರು ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ? I'll call out randomly. Pratiksha.
Yes, sir. Sir, 25 to 30.
How much will you score?
25 to 30.
25 to 30. Vindhya.
20s.
20s. Okay. Varshini.
20s, sir. In 20s.
Okay. Ganesh Shetru. Are you there? 20s. Okay. Let me move to the offline batch now. Where is your offline batch, Oro? Unbeaten, tell me how much will you score?
Sir, minimum 40. Minimum 40.
Tell.
Minimum 40, sir. Minimum 40.
Minimum 40,
Because of
sir.
time value of money, this also happens. Like whenever we aim at the highest, we at least land up in 35 or 38, sir.
We'll get some discount
Okay.
and get sir. There.
No discount
40.
here. But how much should you score? How much will you score?
Minimum
40, sir.
Minimum 40,
Minimum
sir. Minimum 40.
Minimum?
40.
40.
Minimum?
40.
ಯಾರು 30 ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು?
40. Sir, 40. Shashank, sir.
Minimum 40.
Hey, 40.
Minimum 40. Yes, you should score. You should score. You will score minimum 40. Right? So online batch orge. How much will you score?
Minimum 40.
Minimum
40.
Minimum
Maximum ಎಷ್ಟಾದ್ರೂ ಕೊಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅವರು.
40.
But you should score minimum 40. This is how you should start thinking from now on. When you say 20s, 25, 30 andre, you will score 15, 10 only. Because your expectation is only so much. Right? But when you think that you will score 40, you will get 40. You will give that effort to score 40. If you give your effort to score 30, then you will score 20 and 10 only. Right? They say, no, aim for the moon, you will get stars. So aim for the stars, you will get moon. No, ide alva. Atara, minimum 40. Easy subject. Try scoring 40. That should be your confidence. ನಾನು 40 score ಮಾಡೋದು. Law ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, but I want 40 on 40 in this year. Minimum 40 ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ should be your attitude. So you got unanimous answer from offline batch. Similarly, I want next time when some faculty asks you ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, sir first rank ಬರೋದು ನಾನು. Not condescending yourself. You should aim for good marks. Marks is not the only thing, okay? Because when you pass the exam, no one will ask you how much you got. Yes, marks more than they will not. They will ask pass or fail ashte. That is what matters in CA. Pass or fail ashte. But for your satisfaction ಏನು ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, ನನ್ನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂತು, ನಂಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂತು, ಆ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈಡ್ಗೆ ಇರಲಿ. But your attempt should be to pass, but don't expect to pass with 40, 50 ಅದ್ರ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗೋದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಬೇಡ. Always aim very high. Because ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿ you will think that you will score more, but ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So keep that buffer contingency. ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಏಮ್ 40, ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 40 ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಏನು ಬೈ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಏನೋ ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನೋ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ 30 to 35 ಮಿನಿಮಮ್. ಬಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 40. ಎಸ್, ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಮೀ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಮೈ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಡೈವ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಟು ದ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. Okay. I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We have already discussed this. We'll quickly discuss this once. Quickly see this, and we already discussed this in class. I think Nagashri madam would also have discussed the same thing in class. But before we directly dive in, you should know ಯಾವ chapter ge ಜಾಸ್ತಿ weightage ಇದೆ exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So you can concentrate more on that. Don't leave any chapter. We discussed that in offline class, even in online class. ಯಾವುದೇ chapter nu don't avoid, don't miss any single chapter. Ella chapter indanu marks barutte. We discussed, I wrote on the board and explained, no, first question alli comprehension ide, summary ide. Every question allu there is a question on communication. Most of the question allu no, the second question is mostly on communication. So if you miss the entire communication chapter itself, Ella question allunu you will lose 2 to 3 marks. You can never score full marks. So even though you may feel some concept is difficult, some chapter is difficult, don't leave any chapter. Even here or in other subjects also, ಏನು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು ಆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಸಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದೇ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಈಸಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ignoring it altogether, you can actually read and get some marks there. First we have format based chapters. Format based ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? There is a fixed format to follow. Format is fixed, content will be different. For example, letters irbodu, email irbodu, resume irbodu, meetings irbodu. We know how the format is. Resume ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? Objective irutte, your education qualification irutte, skills competence irutte, personal information irutte, adu irutte. Format is same. What you fill in will be different. Yes. So idralli it's like giving free marks to you. At least nim format gottidre free marks ಅಲ್ಲಿ at least 2 to 3 marks ಬಂದಂಗ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. You know, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ideally you fill in the blanks ತರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. So formal letters, 7 types, they will discuss a little later. Inquiry letter adu idu ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ, we'll discuss that. 7 types of letters irutte. Official communication, memos and circulars. There is something called memo circular. Many people may think both look same, both appear same. There is some minor difference. What is that? We will see. Email writing. So in class, I showed you some actual emails only from my mailbox. Yav tara we send mails, subject yav tara irbeku, body yav tara irbeku, right? Ella we had discussed. Resume writing. Again, I showed some resume also. I think resume writing only there are many attentive phases in my class. Alva Samira?
Yes, sir.
Because when I showed the resume, more than concentrating on the chapter, he was looking at the phone numbers in the resume. I had shared one lady's resume and class kinta phone number ಅಲ್ಲಿ interest ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Suddenly I moved the screen, right? Hello Samir?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir. Correct.
I told you don't give her a call. She's already expecting now. So husband phone ಮಾಡಿ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಮುಂಚೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹುಷಾರು. Right. So our formats we are there. So formats are fixed. There are 3 types of resumes are there. Depending on what is actually intended, we can discuss that. And meetings ಅಲ್ಲಿ, in fact I showed you the Toastmasters Club meeting only. The actual meeting, the agenda and minutes ಎರಡು ತೋರಿಸಿದೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. If you want, I can try showing it here also. So minutes of the meeting ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, minutes ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, agenda ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ATR ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು. So all this comes under meetings. ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕೂ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. It's like fill in the blanks ತರ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. So no need to by heart anything or learn anything new here. Format and ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ, fill in the blanks ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು ನೀವು. Next we have concept based chapters. So English basically you have communication, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ minimum 5 marks ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ. Comprehension, first question compulsory question for 5 marks. Vocabulary 5 to 7 marks. Direct indirect speech, active passive voice 5 to 7 marks. So first question ಅಲ್ಲಿ active passive ಇದ್ರೆ second ಅಲ್ಲಿ direct indirect, then active passive ಆ ತರ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, right? So here it's very easy to score, but you should be to the point. English ಅಲ್ಲಿ you can't play around, right? Iವಾಗ passage ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, answers are given in the passage only, right? So you can't be innovative here, you can't think creative here. ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ, right? So one more point is, because ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಬರಿಬೇಕು, answers are there in the passage only, you should be very very specific. Again, you can't beat around the bush here, you can't write your own answers here. You should be very very specific in this concept based chapters, because you can't go and change the concept now. No, concepts are concepts, you can't change the concepts now. You should be very very specific. So we'll discuss more a little later, but if you observe here, 25 marks e part in that. Next, creative or content writing in the, here is where you will use your brain, right? ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಲೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿ ಬರೆಯೋ ಭಾಗ ಇದು. So article writing and report writing ಅಲ್ಲಿ you will be writing on your own. So ನೀವು own ಆಗಿ ಬರೆದಾಗ, this is where you will show your creativity. And now next part of this chapters are summarizing chapters. We have summary writing and précis writing. Précis ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು, it is précis writing and note making. Here data is already there, you are summarizing the data which is already there. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ summarize ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Again, here you should be very specific to the point, because same content na you are concising it. Instead of writing 100 lines, you are writing in 25 or 33 lines, right? So ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ select ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, what to keep, what to ignore will play a very good part. You should know the art of summarizing, right? So 10 marks ಈ part ಇಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So divide your study also in this format. There is no fixed format saying ide order logi, ide order lo odkolli. There is no fixed format. you can take sector by sector, format based ಮೊದಲು ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ, so that you know how it works. Concept based, give more time because you need more practice here. Creative writing, you will have to read more articles, write practicing, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ then you will have to understand. Summary writing, ಎಷ್ಟು ಯಾವ ತರ ಕಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, so at one point of time you can actually study. So you can divide your concepts based on these chapters, based on these concepts, and then you can start studying. Okay, now what is the target for this particular revision class? I will not make it a one-way street. ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಾಯ್ತು ಇವಾಗ, right? I have spoken what I'm supposed to speak. Now it's your turn to speak up. So each and every concept chapter will be there on screen. I will initiate the discussion. I want you to explain to me what this is and any examples, if any, right? So offline batch or whatever examples I have taken in class, you can specifically tell it out to the class for the benefit of online students also. They can also make a note of such examples so that they will also remember. Online batch or the same thing applies to you. If any examples are discussed in class, because I was not part of online class, so I don't know what examples and concepts are discussed. So if any examples are discussed in class, you please read it out or share it with everyone so that it will help others also for the benefit of offline students, right? So we'll initiate. You should be explaining it to me now. So let me see how much you have understood. Let us make it a discussion. This is a revision class, but more than revision, we'll call it a discussion class, right? Any doubts you have, any queries you have, anything you have, you can feel free to ask so that we can discuss and we can understand, right? So communication, quickly, who will explain?
So may I?
Please go on.
Sir, communication means the sender. Here S represents sender, R represents receiver. Sender will give some information, and the way the receiver takes it, analyzes it, and explains it or outputs it is known as communication, sir.
Okay.
So here the
any example?
Sir,
go on.
If it is non-verbal, that police example, or another thing is it can also be an interview where the panel will ask questions and the interviewee will answer to that question, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. So anyone from the online batch? I mean, I'm not differentiating online, offline. We're not dividing you, but let us take more perspectives from you also, right? Because offline batch, I know what examples they will give me because I've only given the examples to them. Online batch, you also share your examples so that we'll have more examples to understand, right? Anything from online batch? You have anything to say? Anything to add? Anyone? Come on, first. Don't be shy. Please.
Yes, sir.
Don't ask, can I? Directly start.
Communication is not only an exchange of information or message, but also about feelings and emotions, and body language also has a major part to play. So
okay,
that is there, because even the tone, you can say the same thing, but if you say it in a very pleasant tone, it makes a different meaning. But if you say the same thing very rudely or sarcastically, also makes a very different meaning. So not just words, but the way you say it and how you say it also plays a major role in communication.
Okay, nice. What is the name? Vaishnavi, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So be interactive, right? Don't be shy. I'm not new to you. I'm not a stranger to you. I'm not a very strict person also. You can ask the offline batch. So I'm not a very strict person, not a very big taskmaster. You can be very friendly with me. So the conclusion here is communication. Okay, you know the concept of communication, but it should also be effective. The point should be conveyed. You heard the proper feedback, right? And it should be effective communication. The communication should be effective, and the message should be conveyed properly. The police example, which many people spoke about, I also spoke about some time back. So we had to start the class at 5:30 or 4:30 or whatever, 4:30 or 5:30. Yeah, that day. Okay. So if I see the chalan, I will remember now. But anyway, so 4:30, assume the class was supposed to start. R school campus ಅಲ್ಲಿ 4:20ish I was 5 minutes away at 4:20. So by 4:25 I would have reached the class. Ali there was a faulty, defective no way entry, one way no entry ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಡಿಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಒನ್. ಸೊ ಯಾರು ನೋಡಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯು ಕಾಂಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ, ಕಾಮಾಖ್ಯ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಪಕ್ಕ. ಸೊ ಈ ಪಾಸ್ ದಟ್ ರೋಡ್, ಇಬ್ರು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಬಂದು ಅಡ್ಡ ಹಾಕೋದು. Now I have two options. One is argue with them for half an hour and miss the class, my first class that too, miss the class, or somehow deal with them and leave early because I have 5 minutes before ashte. 4:25 I would have reached the class. 5 minutes I have to deal with them. So there when I saw, I'll again start ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡು ಅದೇನು ಇದೇನು. ಸೊ ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ದೆಮ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫಾಲ್ಟಿ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಸಮ್ ಅರ್ಧ ಕಟ್ಟಾಗಿರೋ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಬೇರೆ ಸೈಡ್ ತಿರುಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಬೋರ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಫಾಲ್ಟಿ ಬೋರ್ಡ್, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪೇ ದ ಫೈನ್. Will he accept? No, they want money, they will not accept this. So then again the lot of to and fro happened, and then finally I told them ನೋಡಿ ಇವಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನ ತಗೊಳ್ತಿರೋದು, ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಅ ಟ್ರೈನರ್. ನಾನು ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೈ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಮೀ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್, ನೀವು ಬರಲೇಬೇಡ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು 10 minutes ಆಯ್ತು. It was 4:35 almost, and then after a lot of deliberations and discussions, they have camera also, the body cam ಇದೆ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ, which records audio and video also, so they can't easily take bribes from anyone. So ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಾಲ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್, ನನ್ನ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. What does that mean? So fine is 500 rupees. Fine, official fine, one way entry, no way entry ಅಲ್ಲಿ 500 rupees is the fine. ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೀದಾ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಹಿಂಗ್. What does that mean?
So
What did you understand in your online batch?
Pay me 300 rupees and I'll let you go.
Yeah. Was the communication effective?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is communication. Did it tell me 300 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ? No.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
Yes, sir.
So direct ಆಗಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು? No. It was a, what type of communication was it?
Non-verbal communication.
Non-verbal communication. Without telling anything, message is conveyed. Yes or no? I understood the message. ನಾನು 3 ತೋರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದೇನಿದು 3. Did I ask him anything? No. Message was conveyed properly. This is effective communication. So what it was, non-verbal communication, which was effective. That's also part of your syllabus, right? Effective communication. ಏನಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. So any communication, ನೀವು ಹೇಳೋದು ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. You should also understand, you should get proper feedback. Feedback ಅಂದ್ರೆ response. Here you get proper response. Message should be conveyed. Information should be exchanged so that the message is conveyed, right? Next, so I've used that same example in class, that police example. So when you when I ask them non-verbal communication, what do you first think? What's the first thing you remember? Andre police asking 100 rupees. You can never forget non-verbal communication in your life, right? This is just one instance, but any concept, any explanation, when you can link it with a story or example, you can remember much better. Okay, broad categories and types of communication. So there are 2 types, based on medium and based on style. Now, without wasting much time, quickly, one after the other, I want you to unmute, tell one part, and mute. So, error type ಇದೆ, more type ಇದೆ, basically verbal, non-verbal, visual, right? And in the class, I had some confusion between visual and non-verbal also, some part of it. So now I hope it is solved. So verbal communication. Verbal means through words. Quickly, I mean, it's very easy. Unmute and tell me. Written, oral. Written and oral communication. Fast. Come on, fast.
Written communication, they are communicating the information in a writing manner. It can be letters or any other forms of writing. It can also be a form where they make us to fill information.
Okay.
That is known as written communication. And it acts as a proof for
Okay.
further details.
Okay. Oral andre?
So,
Oral communication.
oral communication is something like which you are doing it now, sir. You are saying
Okay.
something. It is not in a written medium, but you are saying it through words or through
Okay.
mouth. That is known as oral communication, sir.
Okay. Any questions here? See, if the concept is very simple, no, I will not explain once again and go you. I want you to tell me, you to explain it to me. If it's complicated or difficult, I will definitely pitch in and I will explain. So any questions here? Anything on oral and written communication? If not, non-verbal communication without words. Again, someone else unmute and please discuss. Come on. Go on.
Physical non-verbal communication is like body language, like how I said in the communication, when I try to explain what communication is, apart from what you're saying,
Okay.
even your body language plays a major role in communicating. Like if you're,
Okay.
free to talk or something, you would move your hands, have a wider stance when you talk. If you're feeling very nervous and shy, you would bring your body very closer to yourself or like stick to a corner. So that is physical non-verbal communication. Your body language also communicates. That is what it is. Paralanguage is the way you say it. For example, if somebody tells me, I was telling you about the race, I won it. And if I would tell them, oh, really? Wow. That means I'm genuinely happy for them. But if I would be like, oh, really? Wow. That means I'm so sarcastic. I'm like, you won the race. Seriously, that's, like, I'm like in the way I'm telling my tone, you can easily understand that I'm being very sarcastic. And about talking.
So what is the conclusion there? Your words will have a different meaning, but actually the meaning will be different. Yes?
Yeah, you say the same words, but the way you say it also communicates a different type of things. So if I say it politely, it's in a good way. But if I say it sarcastically, I'm being sarcastic about it. And about aesthetic communication, about appearance, it is, what do you say? The way you look, the way you present yourself. That is about appearance. And if you look very organized, like, if you're well put up, well dressed, people will assume that you're an organized person and, you like things to be planned and stuff. But if you look very shabby, you don't care about how you dress, then people will automatically assume that, you don't have a particular goal in your life and you don't really care. You're just going about wherever life takes you and you don't want to figure things out like that. And about aesthetic communications is about like art forms. When you look at something, it's really pleasing to look. It may be just be a picture or like a song or a dance. It's just not like, how they say a picture speaks 1,000 words. It's like that. So yeah.
Sir, in last time class, you had given the example for paralanguage, sir. That is, may I state the example, sir?
Please go on. Don't ask here. It's your platform. You should tell.
Rajdeep sir did not tell me he beats his wife. And for this, the way we understand it or the pitch matters. Like Rajdeep sir did not tell me that he beats his wife. It means that someone else have told you that he beats his wife. Rajdeep sir did not tell me that he beats his wife. He did not tell me, but he told others that he beats his wife. Rajdeep sir did not tell me that he beats his wife. It means that he did not say that he beats his wife, but he beats others also. So here the pitch, intonation and the tone in which we are conveying the message plays an important role.
Yes. So that example, actually Rajdeep sir only started the example. I stole his example and I used his name only. How was that? So again, so the point here is that same sentence which you spoke about, if you stress on a different word, the meaning will be different, right? So Rajdeep sir did not tell me that he beats his wife. You believe it or not, there may be 7 meanings to this word. So for the sentence. So depending on where you stress, that was also used in class. And there was one more example I used for paralanguage. I started this topic by saying I am married. And then what was the response I got?
We were astonished.
Oh, what may oh mean? Oh mean, oh, he's married, so young. Or, oh, he is married. Or, oh, chance missed. So there may be many meanings to the same words, but meaning words will be different, but actual meaning may be something else only. So depending on how you actually tell it, right? That is called as paralanguage. Appearance, again, my own example again. If I come just like you can't differentiate between me and you, right? Yaar innೊಬ್ಬ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ. If I come to class by wearing a similar dress. That's why always wear a waistcoat or wear a suit ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದೆ, so that your appear ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. Yes, if I come dressed like a normal t-shirt ನಿಮ್ ತರ ಪ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಶರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದ್ರೆ, because Mr. look young, you will think a student ಬಂದ್ರು ಇಂದ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ. So appearance plays a part. Again, it's way ಎಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ತರ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವೋ, people will think okay ಯಾರೋ ದೊಡ್ಡವರು ಇರಬೇಕು ಹಂಗೆ ಅಂತ, the feeling will automatically come. Right? Aesthetic symbols. Okay. Visual communication. Who will explain visual communication? In 30 seconds. It's simple one. Come on, fast. Nikhil D. DS.
Yes, sir.
Visual communication.
So by doing any seminar, like anything, by doing an PPT, like visualizing, by showing and understanding them very well, and
okay,
and by graphic design, science, like
okay,
etc.
okay. So we had also discussed in class that this visual communication may replace the written communication itself. Right? Instead of you writing 10 different sentences saying that this person from this section got this many marks, this person, this section, this many marks, if you can simply put a chart that is self-explanatory, so it may replace the entire structure of written communication itself, or it may aid in helping understand what you actually mentioned with the help of diagrams, charts, some this. It will be visually appealing also to you, and it will not be too clustered in a screen. You can summarize it and be very to the point. This is visual communication. Okay, next we have based on style of communication. We have formal and informal, but under formal we have 3 categories. Who will explain? See, I was discussing this. I always told this in offline class. You're right or wrong, we don't care. If you're right, very good. If you're wrong, you will learn from it. So end of the day, who is winning? You only, right? So always take charge and take part and tell me, formal, there are three types, vertical, horizontal, diagonal.
So formal
Okay, so
communication.
I'll give you one more trick here. If you don't volunteer yourself and answer the easy questions now, you will be forced to answer the difficult questions later. So keep that in mind, okay? Easy idre tak tak helbedi munchene. Illandre kashta iro questions nan kelidre, then you will be stuck. Okay, so go on.
So
Formal communication, 3 types.
Formal communication is a type of communication where we do it in organizations, especially where there is a hierarchy of people. When there is a hierarchy of people, the information will flow from the superior level, that is top level management, to the lower level or operational level of management. That is vertical communication.
Will it only flow from higher level to lower level?
No, sir, it is also vice versa. Even from lower level also, it can flow to higher level. If it is from higher level to lower level, it is like they're ordering something for the employees. If it is from lower level to top level, they are saying the information or how they feel, experience of theirs in that organization. If it is horizontal level, sir, the people will be stayed in the same level of management. Like for top level, all the board of directors will decide amongst themselves. That is horizontal. Or else even the middle level management, that is managers and the foremen, they themselves will decide what to do amongst
so sales manager, production manager, procurement manager.
Yes, sir. Because all are stayed in the same level and they are in the same position.
Okay.
And
then,
diagonal manage. Sir?
Go on. Diagonal.
The diagonal is sometimes they won't follow this hierarchy or this chain, scalar chain. At that time they break. Sometimes emergency situations arises or they have to take immediate decisions. They can't go to top level management, ask for their suggestion or their guidance. At that time, they do it in a crisscross manner, or they do it in a haphazard manner, saying that one person from the lower level management directly can approach the top level management without undergoing this middle level management. That is also known as gangplank. That is diagonal communication.
Okay. Advantages of vertical communication. Is there any problem with vertical communication?
Sir, it is a time-consuming process.
Correct. Okay. Diagonally, what is the best advantage?
Sir, there is no positional variations. Anyone can communicate with anyone, and it reduces time and quick decision-making capacity will be there. And whatever they take the decisions, it will
So
be.
I don't know if you use the word or no, but one thing one phrase we should use here is chain of command. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Chain of command andre eno? So order logodu, that is called chain of command. So vertical communication alli use the word chain of command. Or chana godkondidane anta, they will give you half mark extra. So 5 alli 4 kodbeku antidre, they will give 4.5 at least. Right? So one is use specific words specific to the respective points. Idarli ee type of style of communication alli the phrase chain of command is very important. Adanna hakbidi. So diagonal communication alli will they follow chain of command? No, they will not follow chain of command because anyone can contact with anyone. So one thing. Second part, idukke always write a diagram, a simple diagram. For example, you can write like this. If I can annotate, 1 minute.
Sir, rather chain of command, we can even use it as scalar chain, no, sir?
You can, but again, specific to that, you can use it. So you can, where is the pen? Again, you can simply say, okay, I'm not able to, 1 minute. Okay, never mind. Finding it some issue with the pen, it's not reading properly. But yeah, so what you need to do, proper diagrams hakbekal. Vertical, you can simply say A, B, or some CEO. Kelagade 2 levels. This manager. Kelagade team lead. Kelagade assistants or associates. So it's hierarchy chain. Horizontal andre production manager communicates with sales manager. He communicates with accounting manager. So E level, same level al matadaga horizontal communication. Diagonal under you write a chart. There is a chart like this. Either mail hogi, for example, sales department. We have a CFO who is the head of everything. Then we have sales manager, sales team lead, sales associate. You got a production manager, production team lead, production sale. So sales manager is talking to production associate. So cross. And production manager is talking to sales associate. Either on the line up to explain. So wherever possible in English, explain with the help of a diagram. Especially idukke and next concept ke. Chart is a must. For example, symbol is a must. Some chart is a must here. Okay. Okay. Informal communication andre.
Sir,
Informal.
They need not follow any of the structure. In most of the corporate world, even if it is formal communication, like they address most of their dignitaries with their name itself. And that is formal for them. But whereas in non-corporate organization or in other organization, business entities, addressing someone like that becomes informal communication. So here, specific respect or specific like respected madam is not required. They can address anyone, any of the authorized person as dear sir, dear madam.
Can I say, hey bro, how are you?
No, sir. They can't use it, sir.
Why not?
Sir, as it is a corporate organization, they cannot be so informal. For them, it is formal, but informal is when you address friends also, that is informal communication. Talking to parents is informal communication. Where you
what I tell in class? Now, class when I explained, whatever I discuss in class is a formal way of communication, right? The class itself was a formal setting. But when it comes to informal, whatever happens outside the class. So when we talk like this, that may be an informal communication, even though the relationship is same. It may be of student teacher itself, but the platform also matters. Class al matadaga, it will be a formal communication. Class horag matadaga, informal setting al matadaga. Now tinkondu munde alli samosa stall idalva alli kutkondu nitkondu matadthivi. So all that will be informal communication where we will not follow any formal protocols. Formal protocols and rules will not be followed. We'll chat normally. That is called informal way of communication. Okay. Next, essentials of oral communication. we have pronunciation, listening and conversation, spoken grammar, vocabulary, noticing language, presentation, face to face or interview. Anyone can throw some light on this quickly, fast, before moving on? So when we discuss in class, how will oral communications be very effective and what should be the essentials of oral communication that we had discussed? I'd given small examples for each part, but if you remember or no, but quickly, I want someone to summarize this fast. Anyone? Come on, tell me. Oral communication ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಏನಿರಬೇಕು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ? What do you mean by this ಅಂತ some quickly summarizing ಯಾರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? So pronunciation, again, pronunciation. This is pronunciation, right? Next we have listening and conversation. You ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಮೊದಲು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Be a proper listener first. Then you can be an effective communicator. Correct ಆಗಿ listen ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು you will have to speak. Spoken grammar, your grammar should be good without mistakes. Vocabulary, again, next chapter itself ಇದೆ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. Noticing language. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ I gave an example of who was that? ಯಾರು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಮೂದ ಪೋಡಿಯಂ ಅಂತ ಮೂದ ಪೋಡಿಯಂ ಅನ್ಬೋದು. ನಮನ್ ಮೂದ ಪೋಡಿಯಂ ಅನ್ಬೋದು. ಕೆನ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಮೂದ ಪೋಡಿಯಂ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಕೇಳೋ ರೀತಿನೇ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯು ಕಮ್ ಮೂದ ಪೋಡಿಯಂ ದಿಸ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇವನ್ ಯಾವ ನನ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹೆಡ್, ರೈಟ್? ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ಆಸ್ ಅ ಟೀಚರ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್, ಇಫ್ ಐ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ಕೆನ್ ಯು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಮೂದ ಪೋಡಿಯಂ, ಅದೇ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಓಹ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಸರ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಶೋರ್ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಾ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ. So when the language you use is very noticing, very good, then the effective feedback will be effective also. Next, presentation, face-to-face video or interview. Again, idrallu we discuss in various stages. Actually, this particular part we discuss various stages. The way you present yourself also matters, right? Now, for example, I'm in a online setting now, be it an interview or be it a class or whatever it is. How you present yourself, that also matters, right? So how you present, how you talk to people, how you involve them, how you make it interactive, idella matter agutte. Next, network of communication. We have 5 types: vertical, circuit, chain, star, wheel and spoke. Okay, who will talk about vertical network? I will only point out 1 minute.
The one which is used in the formal communication. So it has a hierarchy. And it is between two people. Basically, it is between superior and subordinates. Example, manager speaking to his staffs. So,
okay. So is it one way or two way?
Two way communication, sir.
Two way. So again, networks of communication in this chapter, in this question, compulsorily diagram should be there. You should write a diagram, right? You can say A, B, or you can say superior, subordinate. Hange bariri. You write superior, subordinate, and error arrow mark agbi, two-way arrow mark. Right? Along with the explanation, you should compulsorily write a diagram. Diagram is a must, explaining what you have written. Visual aid, visual communication, right? So along with what you write, add a diagram also. If they ask this as a 5-mark question, for example, then ella barbitu onondukku diagram bariri. Most usually it's asked as a 2-mark question. Explain chain network or explain wheel and what do you mean by wheel and spoke network andaga. Write what that is and also write the diagram, proper diagram. So superior, subordinate is the best example when it comes to vertical network. Next, we have circuit network. Who will explain?
Sir, it is a type of network where after sending the message, they also wait or await for the reply. It can be in the same.
Okay.
Like a production manager will ask the sales manager, how is your sales? So what steps should be taken to maximize my production so that sales will also increase? Or he can also, sales manager can also give the review of the production units. So this is a circuit network where they ask the message as well as they eagerly wait for the response of the receiver.
Okay. Will the feedback be immediate here?
Yes, sir.
Will the feedback be immediate in vertical network?
No, sir.
In vertical?
In vertical, it takes time, sir. Because they
Is
have
it?
to. Yes, sir. Because the top level manager should send it to the middle level manager and then get the feedback from the organizational or operational level of management.
But when you're directly communicating, when the senior is directly communicating with his immediate junior, right? We're not looking at the entire vertical communication. If we directly say supervisor, superior or supervisor to subordinate, directly between them, in that case, it will be immediate feedback. That is vertical, right? So when you say vertical, the entire structure, the entire flow between starting from CEO to the assistant, that is one structure. But when we say vertical network, it's between two people, one superior or supervisor, one subordinate, and there are two positions, higher position, lower position. They communicate directly and feedback. Instant feedback right? That is vertical. Otherwise, we'll have to make a note of that also. Next, chain network. Who will unmute and tell me?
So chain network, this communication pattern follows a chain of command from one senior to many juniors. So there's one senior person who passes down the command in the form of a chain to their subordinates. But this communication method is very time consuming and it is not efficient as well because, before it reaches the last person, it goes through various other people. So it depends on how every other person understands that communication, how they perceive it, and how they pass it on to the next person. So because of this, it's not very effective and it's not very recommended as well, especially not in large organization because it's not effective.
Yes, we in class we discussed about Chinese whisper also here, right? The message conveyed from top will be something else. The message understood by the last person in the chain will maybe something else. So because essence may be lost, or the main message only may be lost because it follows a chain of command. Use the word chain of command in this point. Chain of command, there's a very big chain of command. Because of that, it's very time consuming and communication may not be very clear. Right? This is called as chain network, and you can write the entire structure diagram. You can write A, B and C, D, E on kelegade. You can follow that approach. One CEO or one person, under that various people under each category. Diagram is a must. Again, next, star network. Who will explain star network?
Sir, it is a type of network where there is no particular sequence or order. However they want, any employee can communicate with any of the manager can communicate with any of the top level organizations where particular network or sequence is not followed. This removes the hindrance of all vertical network, circuit network, and chain networks.
Okay.
This is efficient when they want quick response as well as idea, innovations, creativeness from various employees.
Okay. So if we take an example of CAPS, for example, CAPS, we have Shetty sir, and then assume we have deputy to Shetty sir, and then we have staff, and then we have trainers, and then we have students. Either organization structure follow madidre, then what happens? Anyone can talk with anyone. You can directly communicate with Shetty sir, saying that Shashank sir is not teaching properly. You can directly communicate with anyone. I can communicate with Shetty sir, I can communicate with staff, I can communicate with you. So it's a free and fair communication, open communication. So there will not be any time waste, basically, right? Next, information will be flown freely. There will not be most wastage of time. Free information will be transferred and conveyed. This is star network. Either diagram A, B, C, D, E in Pardo, star tara. A can communicate with B can communicate with A can communicate with C to A to D, D to A to E to A. So, and D to B, ella. Star tara, elru communicate madbodu anta you can show in the chart. Next, wheel and spoke network.
Sir, in this type of network, sir, in this type of network, there is a single authority who gives orders and who gives orders to his subordinates, and those subordinates report him back. But this type of network is not useful in large organizations. It's only useful in small organizations, sir.
Okay. So again, can we take CAPS and change the example a bit? Shetty sir is there and all of us are there. So
Yes.
I will report to Shetty sir, he will tell me if there is an issue. He will tell Shetty sir will tell me, and then again, each one, there will be one controlling authority, and then he will communicate with various parties. So unlike star network, where everyone communicates with everyone, in wheel and spoke network, usually there will be one head, you can say. He will communicate with everyone. Everyone will be communicating with him. But what is the problem? Can this be used in very big organizations? No. It can be effective in small organizations, but not in big organizations. Because when it comes to big organizations, each department will have their own power. When you say Ratan Tata is the head of Tata, if you say, then he can't take a single decision for all the departments. There will be department managers for that. But if it's a small institute like CAPS, for example, Shetty sir may say, online CAPS starting, online course starting today, from tomorrow compulsory offline. We will have to follow it. He has a command, so everyone will listen to him. So this is the difference. It may work in small enterprise, but in large enterprises, wheel and spoke network may not work. Again, use the diagram. One person, A, someone in between, and B, C, D, E, F, G, etc., and communication with each party. But here, the main point to write is there will be one single authority. Okay. Next. Characteristics of effective communication. Not discuss there is nothing here, but again we quickly summarize this. We have clarity. We should be very clear. Next, I want we did this exercise here. So what I did in offline batches, I started summary writing from this particular chapter itself. I didn't open summary writing and say this is summary writing chapter. I asked them to practice summary writing from first chapter itself. So what did I ask them to do? I started with characteristics of communication and then barriers to communication. So I gave them homework and told them, understand, read this on your own. I've not explained. I will explain in the next day. Read this on your own. This entire part, this and barriers. I want you to come up with 3 to 4 main words from the paragraph. Right? The paragraph may be a 3 to 4 line paragraph. Clarity and they'll explain in 3 to 4 lines. But I asked them to specifically give me the answer in 3 to 4 words only, not phrases or something. 3 to 4 words only answer mada kelidde. So I will do the same exercise here. Probably online batch can answer this. So there are how many? 9 points here. Each point, what are the 3 to 4 main words? I want you to tell me. Right? Clarity, andre, clear, atara. So any word which specifically relates to this, I want you to tell me. So here, what I started the art of practicing precis writing and summary writing from first chapter itself. So you at least practice tumba agiddangiತ್ತು. So clarity I already said. Next, conciseness. Can someone tell me in 3 or 4 words what this means?
Short, simple,
easy.
Bye, Madhumita. Switching off video and going. Okay. Go on, sorry. Conciseness andre ಏನು?
Sir, conciseness is no repetition.
Okay.
Core content is there and avoiding irrelevant words.
Okay. Okay. So ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ. Avoid all unnecessary stuff. Be to the point. Next, concreteness.
Facts and figures.
Okay. Then
specific.
Facts and figures. Then some details to support factual supports. Another factual points irbeko. Then what else? Focus on the main message. Concreteness, focus should be on the main message. I think I had asked you to underline also in the class. So, when you come across such questions, no, not only in this chapter, but any other chapter also, any other subject also, sometimes it may be very difficult for us to read and by heart the entire paragraph. 3-4 lines ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, 4-5 lines ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲದನ್ನು by heart ಆಗೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ ಆದ್ರೂ this I followed this technique there. Select 3 to 4 main words and then you can expand on it, right? So concreteness ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಿರಬೇಕು, ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ. For example, let me check the book. ಏನು ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ. Characteristics, see, concreteness, facts and figures, underline. Detail to support, underline. Focus on the main message, underline. So they are the crux of this paragraph. ಇದೆಲ್ಲದನ್ನು ignore ಮಾಡಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ. These 3 should be there in your answer. So when you think of concreteness, no, these 3 words should come to your mind already. That is the reason I did this exercise. So it's a practice, nice practice for summary writing also, and you're understanding this chapter also, right? So conciseness, antakshna 3 words ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು. So in the book I had marked brevity, ಅಂದ್ರೆ exact use of words. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ beat around the bush ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, exact words ಅಲ್ಲಿ. No repetitions. Again, these were underlined. So these 2 should be there in your answer. Other points, supporting points can be there, but ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. So for each and every point, have 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 words fixed. Answer ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು, main points. ಈ ತರ ನೀವು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ನೀವು ಫುಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಓದಿ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ you can't. Very difficult. I'm not saying you can't, it's very difficult. But when you remember 3 to 4 words, you can expand the paragraph on your own. Okay, next we have coherence. Coherence ಅಂದ್ರೆ
should be continuous. Sir,
there should be a link. There should be a link ಇರಬೇಕು, connection ಇರಬೇಕು. That is coherence. Next, completeness. Go on. Go on, Samirana.
Logically presented.
Okay, then you're telling coherence or completeness?
Coherence.
Okay. So coherence, what was underlined in books? Relevant, interconnected, and also written, related, connected, organized. Right? These should be the words compulsorily in your book. Next, we have completeness.
So whatever we're communicating should be complete, and it should be based on facts and information. You cannot make assumptions and say whatever. There should be a strong base to whatever you say. And when your communication is complete, it helps in better decision making.
Okay. So, and relevant and required information should be available with the receiver. Last point was there in the explanation. Okay. Next, courteousness.
You should be polite and you should not use negative tone here.
Okay. Then, so 3 words underlined.
No.
Polite, negative tone, respectful, then
No hidden.
Come on, Padma. No?
Honest.
No hidden.
I didn't get you. No hidden what?
Negative tone.
Okay. So the tone also matters. So I can give the same podium example also here. No, I can tell a student, as a teacher, I can tell a student, can you please move the podium? Or can say, but podium move. Right. So so the way we speak also will matter. So courteous is another, be polite. Can you say please move the podium? I can say, as a teacher, I can say, podium move. But I can tell with politeness. That is the meaning of courteousness. Next, focus and attention. 3 to 4 words here. Anything?
Sir, anxiety related to work, emotions, distress, etc. It will distract us.
Okay. So distractions. Distractions, nothing but to focus on what is relevant. Okay. Then anything?
Emotional distress.
Emotions. So emotions also play a very big part. So I always discuss in class that even though I'm taking a class, there are 100 students in class, I can still get a proper feedback from you instantly. Instant feedback and direct feedback I used to get from the students because they used to show non-verbal communications, right? And I used to explain something. They used to smile. They used to, frown. Or they used to probably they used to do something. So involuntarily your emotions will show sometimes. And that may go against you also. So you should always be in control of your emotions. Okay, next. Again, emotional awareness and control go, the same example works. So last 2 points, emotional awareness and control, listening for understanding. Tejaswini, what do you say?
Yes, sir.
Last 2 points,
Sir.
Quickly summarize.
Sir, emotions are important for a man, and we should know in which emotion the man is communicating with us. Sometimes it might be a negative tone, but his emotion would be to correct us. So we have to understand the emotion and not the words in which they are speaking. Sometimes, as we already discussed, like paralanguage plays an important role. It also affects our emotions. And listening, we have to listen first. We have to be a very good listener before we respond something. Because when we clearly understand and listen to a topic, only then we'll be in a position to analyze it and then reciprocate it to them. So we have to listen first clearly to understand. We have to understand and then analyze it and then reciprocate whatever things we have to.
Okay. So again, keep this concept 3 to 4 words to summarize the line. You can expand on it. So the 3 to 4 words is not the final answer. It is for you to remember the rest. Right? For example, listening for understanding. What can you write? You can talk about attentive, emotional bias, and perception. People's perception may be different. Right? So even more word you can underline and keep it there. This is how you can remember the rest of the paragraph also. Right? Next, barriers to communication. Barriers andre enu? Who will tell me?
Obstacles.
I want online batch to answer this one by one. First question, barriers, communication barriers. What do you mean by barriers? Quickly, fast, or else I'll point out.
Sir, it is an hindrance in our communication process. Only if we remove this hindrance or barrier, then the communication becomes effective and efficient.
Okay. Physical barrier. Who will tell me? I want someone to differentiate between physical barrier and physiological barrier, because many people will get confused here. I know. Vishnu, go on. Physical, physiological. What is physical barrier? What is physiological barrier? What is the difference between these two? Go on, Vishnu. Vishnu. Okay, anyone else?
Sir, can I try?
Go on.
Sir, physical barriers is the barriers which are in our surroundings. For example, some noise, because of which we are not able to communicate properly, or what we say is not reaching the other person properly. Physiological barrier is what is in our health issues. Like, for example, we are not able to see properly. In non-verbal communication, seeing and understanding the information is very important. If we are not able to see the information properly, we'll not be able to understand the information properly. The communication will not be effective, sir.
Okay, so when it comes to physical barrier, when I take an offline class, if I'm using a mic, a mic work agtilla, hade speaker, dabba speaker, ee ತರ ಏನಾದರೂ ಇದ್ದರೆ, that is a physical barrier, right? Some extra noise ಇದೆ, disturbance ಇದೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಜಾತ್ರೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, sound ಬರ್ತದೆ. All these are physical barriers. But if physiological ಅಂದ್ರೆ, this problem with you only. Ill health, poor eyesight ಇರಬಹುದು, hearing deficiency ಇರಬಹುದು. This will contribute to physiological barriers. This is personal physical, basically, right? Next, organizational structure barrier.
Sir, may I?
Please, don't ask. It's your platform. You should unmute and directly talk.
Sir, if organizational barrier, there will be some barrier between the top level management, middle level management, and lower level management. So in some organization, there will be no right to speak in the lower level management to top level management directly. So I think there will be a formal line of communication in that, and only the top level management is having the right to guide the lower level management. And
Okay, it leads to a lot of confusion. Chain of command, again, you can use the word chain of command here. So all that will play a part in organization structure barrier. Okay, next, language barrier. Quick example, someone.
So when people from different places come to a place and in an organization they work, at that time, lack of knowledge of the language can have become a barrier, or the use of jargons, that is the technical words of that particular language, will also not give the correct meaning, or the people might not understand it. So for this reason, you need to use a simple, clear language so that everyone can understand it.
Okay, I gave an example of my first trip from office to Kerala. Remember? Napo, Nipo, right? So
Yes,
language
sir.
may be a barrier. Okay, next, cultural barrier.
Sir, it is a type of barrier where, as an organization, many people come from different continents, also different places of the same country also, sir, because it is globalized. Everyone from any part of the world can come into our organization. So we need to know certain symbols. Sometimes it would be good for this language and this symbol would be appropriate, but the same language and the same symbol in other state, that would mean differently. So we need to respect all the cultures, because cultures are the values and the ethics which the organization must follow.
Okay, so again, I had given an example of greetings here, right? Now, if I meet a friend after a long time, a boy and a girl meeting after a long time, what would happen if it's in India? Say, hey, how are you? And then next shake hand. But if foreign right? But our foreign if they come to India and suddenly what will you think? Right? So again, this is a barrier because Ali culture is different, Illi culture is different. So this is a type of barrier. Even it may be a proper handshake irbodu, greeting irbodu. Starting from there, there will be differences in different cultures which may act as a barrier. Okay, next, attitude barrier. Attitude barrier. Go on, Madhumita.
Sir, under attitude barrier, it depends upon the attitude of the individual persons working in the organization. If a person is very active, then the communication from that person, communication to that person would be very effective. But if the employee is lazy, or if he is not if he is inactive, at that time the communication might not be that useful. So, attitude of the person also
okay.
Attitude we need to.
Okay, it's simple, pretty simple one. Next, perception barrier.
So perception is the thing which we think of. I may think in a different perspective and the organization may think in a different perspective. So whenever we have to reach some goal, both our perspectives should match. If the perspectives are different, the action in which we are going will also be different. The route changes. So whatever we deal with, it should be the same for the vice versa also. They should also think in our perspective. They say, no, sir, think in others' boots. It means that we have to think ourselves also and think in others' position also.
Okay. So perception again. I may interpret something differently, I may interpret it something differently. That's a barrier again. So I may perceive it in a different way, I perceive it in a different way. That acts as a barrier. Next, we have emotional barrier. Quickly.
So emotional barrier is, when you let your emotions come in the way of communicating. For example, like emotions like fear or jealousy or anxiety, all of these. When you communicate, if you let your emotions come in the way, which is not required for this particular communication, it'll prove to be as a barrier, and the communication will not be effective and efficient.
Okay, there's a saying, don't promise when you're happy and don't comment when you're angry or something. Because when you are emotional, you may actually give away a lot. You may tell something bad, which is not appropriate for the moment. So sometimes emotional play a very big part. And again, when you are too emotional, that acts as a barrier because the other person may not like it also in many cases. It may lead to a lot of misunderstandings also in many cases, right? Next, we have technology barrier.
So technology barrier, as all the organizations are being upgraded, even the technology should get upgraded, and we should not follow the old or our ancestors. Like you told about Chitragupta books, rather than maintaining normal accounts or normal journal books, they used to maintain one big book, which was so difficult to manage things. So we have to get upgraded with the technology. And you also mentioned the example of a Toastmaster club, where one auntie was saying that why do you want all this Google Forms? Can't we do it in other way around? So
No,
that is
auntie, auntie told me. Okay, but
some lady.
yeah. So about that example which she gave, one was auntie example. What was the other example I gave?
Chitragupta books.
Chitragupta book. So there was for the benefit of online batch. So I used to go. I went to a government institution for an audit. This was before GST. I think I went in 2015. I went to Bhopal, Nagpur, and Hyderabad, but the head office was there in Bangalore for internal audit. I go there. They have 21 departments inside the campus. So each department has maintained a ledger of inward, outward, purchase, sale, and all that. So they were maintaining Chitragupta books. You know what Chitragupta books are? The books which are, I mean, I can't show you on screen, which are very thick and fat. You should open the books like this. Right? You should open and close the books like this. Each page should be open and closed like this. So we told them, please implement Tally software. It's simple software. We will help you in implementing. We are internal auditors. We're supposed to help you. We will help you in implementing the Tally software. We'll also guide you through it. Please close this, take away this system. They said no. Why? Because most of the department heads were mostly 50 plus. They had used all those years of experience to be the division head. Now suddenly if Tally is introduced there, those people don't know to operate computers also. How can they learn Tally? Right. So they said no, we will not. We convinced the accounting team also. We told the higher management saying that the divisions are still maintaining Chitragupta books and they will come a time we'll have to move online. So why not start now? Implement Tally in all software so that you will have one control and you can actually, because what happens is every time we'll have to sit in total manually. There may be a totaling mistake or there may be transferring mistake. From here, they will transfer to other department. From there, it will go elsewhere. From there, it will go to the accounts department. There's a lot of time lag. I suggested, they said no. Why? Technology barrier. They cannot be up to date with the technology because they think if Tally is introduced, we will lose our job. Some young person who knows Tally will take my place. I will lose my job. So this is also a barrier, technology barrier. Next, physiological we saw gender barrier. Any quick comments from anyone? I remember giving one example here. Forgot. But gender barrier. Who will tell me?
Sir, it is a type of barrier which distinguishes between a male and a female, sir. Sometimes, most of the times, male may think everything in a logical manner, whereas women may think it in a logical manner and they also add their emotions to it. So most of the top level management mostly will be comprised of men because they have to implement most of the policies and formulations will be in a logical manner so that it will help the whole organization. So that is a gender barrier. But in the present day, this gender barrier is not there, sir, because both, it is not a patriarchal society or a matriarchal society. It is an equilibrium society now, sir.
Okay. So the main point here is, as you told, men think logically. Men use logics, women use emotions. Sometimes this logics and emotions, while taking decisions, this logics and emotions may play a very big part. So it may go for or against the company's decisions also, because you think logically or emotionally. So when you think logically, the outcome may be different. When you think emotionally, the outcome may be different. They say no, sometimes, should I listen to my mind or should I listen to my heart? Right. So this is mind-heart example, but when you bring gender here, again, men think logically, women think more emotionally. And when men think logically, they give a specific answer. When women think logically, they may give too much of explanation. Men may not give too much explanation, but women may give too much explanation. Again, this is also a barrier with having genders in the same organization. But as she also told, there are many points in the book, in the material also, which is kind of outdated, right? But it has to be read again for your exam point of view. So in offline class especially, I made it a point to bifurcate between your book knowledge and practical knowledge also. So what is there in the books is applicable for your exam. I also told you what is applicable outside. It's some simple thing, right? Writing a mail, for example, writing a letter, respected sir or madam. It's been almost how many? I last wrote this in school. 10th standard, probably 2008 was the last time I wrote respected anywhere. Now I use dear. Right? So, but books says respected means you write respected in your exam. So I told you whatever is there in the book for exam point of view, follow it. I also have mentioned what you should follow outside, elsewhere also. Be it in resumes or other chapters, we'll touch upon those a little later. But just because it is not applicable in the practical world now, don't ignore that in the exam paper. If it's there in the book, you still write it, because the invigilator who corrector might know that it's not applicable, but it's still there in the answer key. No, he will have to consider that while evaluating you. Okay, so quickly moving on to vocabulary, connotations, and jargon words. Now here we'll not take more time now. We'll hurry up a bit from here because we have a little more to cover. Let us give equal importance to all the chapters. So, okay, what is vocabulary? It's about listening, reading, writing, speaking, and usage of proper grammar, usage of proper idioms, direct, indirect speech, suffix, prefix, active, passive voice, right? Now, connotations and jargons. What do you mean by connotations and jargon words? Quickly, someone unmute and tell me.
So using two words together to
okay, like example,
like heavy rain.
Heavy rain. Okay, that's the most common example used. Then
strong.
Which one?
Chair. Strong chair.
Okay, then
using two nouns or two verbs, or the noun and a verb, to
okay,
make words more meaningful.
Okay, so if it used separately, meaning will be
it will be.
If it's used together, meaning will be different.
If we use it together, it will be more effective.
Yes. Okay. We'll come back to that. Idioms. Anything on idioms?
So we use a set of words which says the meaning indirectly but not directly. It is just like figure of speech, which increases the efficiency of our writing.
Okay. Then
and the way the reader will interpret will also be more accurate. More accurate, and
okay,
it will be more informative for them also. It is a creative way of writing things.
Okay. So I want all of you to tell your answers, then I'll correct if you're wrong anywhere. Okay. Next, synonyms and antonyms.
So synonyms.
Go on.
So synonyms are the words with same meaning or similar meaning, while antonyms are opposites.
Okay. So here, how do you solve such questions in your exam? Because in your exam, you get synonyms or antonyms. You may come across a different word which you probably have never heard in your life. What will you do? Here, it's about luck in such cases. So I use the word famished. I give my own example. My friend told me, we went to a mall, we watched a movie, and then she told me, Shashank, I'm famished.
Hungry.
So famished means
Tired.
very hungry. So she could have told, no, hungry. She would have told, I'm very tired, very hungry. We'll go grab a bite. But she told, I'm famished. So I said, oh, okay. Because I didn't know. I can't say what is that. So I simply took out my phone, checked famished. She said, very hungry. I said, oh, you're hungry, we'll go and eat something. So this is what happens with us day-to-day life. No. So how can you come across more words? Use Google, check for more synonyms, antonyms, get used to words, get used to seeing new words. Because first of all, from your book material, solve all practice questions, right? Solve all practice questions from your book. You will get an idea of how the words will look, and break that word up into smaller words. And usually there will be 4 answers written, 4 options given to you. See which option will suit the best. Use elimination method. There may be 2 closest answers also, because you are hearing the word for the first time. It may have 2 different meanings only. You will not know what the answer is. The 4 options will have 4 different meanings. You will not know which is correct. So use the process of elimination and see which comes closest to the answer. You can select that. But here you can't guarantee that you get 1 mark, because you don't know the word. What if you get famished? Options are tired and hungry. If you write tired, it's wrong. Hungry is the answer, right? So you may not, can't get. So here you will have to read or practice a lot of questions. Again, when it comes to idioms, synonyms and antonyms, and active, passive, direct also, and some comprehension passages also, practice a lot. And especially articles and reports. You need to practice a lot for you to get a grip of it. I told you in class, see, English, this specific 40 marks chapter, subject, I'm not teaching something new to you because you already know many of the stuff here. I'm only there to guide you to correct path and also to help you guide you through new techniques and tricks to solve the question. Now, I can't guarantee, even if I solve 100 questions today on synonyms and antonyms, you will get the 101st question in the exam. So there is no point. So you should get a grip of how to solve the question. You should get a nice grip of the subject and that knack of solving the question. For that, you need to practice. There is no second thought here, right? Next, synonyms means samanarthaka pada and antonyms means viruddharthaka pada, opposite words. Okay. Collocations. Who explained connotation sometime back? Varshini or someone else?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
now
yes.
you only tell me what do you mean by collocations.
I got confused between connotation and collocations. What I said, that
You got
was the
confused,
meaning
huh?
for collocations.
What you said was collocation, not connotation. What is connotation then?
Yes.
That's why I told you I will not correct you now. I will correct you at the end. That's why I asked you only to tell me. So people may get confused between connotation and collocation. Collocation is what you had mentioned some time back. What do you mean using two different words and the meaning will be something else only, right? What do you mean by connotation?
Connotation, I don't know, sir.
Okay, anyone else
Feelings.
wants to give it a try? I didn't hear you.
Feelings and emotions.
Feelings and emotions. Okay. Now, if someone is, say, 100 kgs, I wanted to use a word, but I'm not using the word. If someone weighs 100 kgs now, what can you tell him or her? If it's a guy or a girl, what can you tell? You're fat. You're fat. Andre, they may get offensive. They may get offended with that. If we say, what I say is, you're very healthy. It's a nice way to put across. When you say you're healthy, that means I have put on a lot of weight, but I'm not calling you fat. So there's a nice way to put that word across. So instead of using words which may be hurtful or negative, use words, similar meaning. Meaning will be same, actually same meanings. Use different words which may look, sound, and hear nice. Right? Instead of calling fat, you can call chubby. Instead of fat, you can say you're bubbly again. It means bubbly again, but you're still bubbly only. You're not fat. Right? So use words which may sound and which will be sound very nice, basically. That is connotation. Collocation andre a group of words that usually appear together. As you said, heavy rain. Heavy meaning different irutte. Rain meaning may be different only. But when you use heavy rain, the meaning may change. The meaning will be something else also. So usually collocations means a group of words which are usually used together. So that's the difference between connotation and collocation. Phrasal verbs. Anyone? What are phrases? Like incomplete sentence, a collection of words. Verbs andre actions.
Action words are known as nouns.
Okay, so phrasal verbs andre combination of phrases and verbs. After you can think about that. But here I have not seen many questions on that. But prefix and suffix. Prefix means?
Sir, if we had something prior or before the root verb, that is known
before.
as. And suffix is if we had something after the root verb, that is suffix.
Okay. Prefix example?
Extraordinary.
Okay. Ordinary is a word. Extra is prefix, you say. Right? Suffix? Example of some suffix.
Useful.
Huh?
Friendship.
Friendship. Okay. Then? Welcome, Nandish. Suddenly active. Continue remaining active. Next,
Sir,
any other
jumping,
example?
sir.
Suffix.
Jump, ing, jumping.
Okay, then.
Connected.
So keep that logic in mind. If used before, prefix, later, after the word, suffix. Root words. What are root words?
So the base words.
Okay. Example.
So like eat is base word. Eating is a continuous word.
Okay.
The root words are the base words, and that will indicate the
Okay.
meaning of the whole word.
Okay. Anyone else?
So the origin of the word, from where it has arrived, is what? Root word.
Okay. Example.
Like the jungle, it's actually derived from a Sanskrit word.
Okay. I think the book had one example called running. The material had an example called running, right? If you take out the suffixes, then what is left? Run, which is the root word. I think that example, the first example was given somewhere in the middle of the paragraph. I remember reading this, right? Okay. Any questions here till what we have understood? We looked at basically the first 2-3 chapters: communication, essentials, characteristics, okay. Communication barriers, vocabulary. Yeah, we stopped here. Any questions still here? Okay. If not, if there are any questions, please ask me. Stop me and ask me anytime. We'll discuss and solve.
What is loan verb, sir?
Same, foreign words. Basically, loan words are foreign words taken from a different language itself.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Comprehension is the first compulsory question, right? You know that now. Comprehension is the first compulsory question. How do you approach this question? Now, we will not be solving 10 to 20 comprehension questions in class. We'll only discuss how to approach the question, and answer you can find it easily. So, what is the first step? What is comprehension? A passage will be given to you. Answers are given in the passage itself, and then they'll ask you questions. What should you do? Look at the questions, look at the passage, answer. 5 easy marks. Do you think you should get anything less than 5? No. But again, because it's easy, they may not give you direct questions sometimes. In many cases, they may ask you to write a summary also of the passage for 2 marks. Or they may ask you to write some from direct to indirect speech, active to passive voice. So they may bring in other chapters also in this comprehension chapter. So, ek mark do tokda antaralva, hange. In one question itself, they'll ask you questions from 2 chapters. Comprehension question and some idioms. If there are any idioms in the comprehension passage, they will say, ask this idiom and ask you to write the meaning of the idiom. So, idiom question chapter in the cover madangaitu and comprehension cover madangaitu. Before moving on, idioms andaga nenpaitu. So, how do you approach the idioms chapter? Because error question kedudru 2 marks are very important for you, no? It's a matter of pass and fail. 1 or 2 marks is also very important. Idioms, how do we approach? First, so think of the literal meaning only first. Actual meaning note. We solved all the questions from the material in class, in offline batch. So each idiom, actual meaning then you can actually see which is closer. Meaning closer meaning answers options you can see which comes closer. It may not be directly related to the actual literal meaning, but when you break it up, you will get the idea behind this. For example, can you give me any example of idiom which we discussed in class? The most common idiom which we used in class was beat around the bush. Then
around the bush. I have other fishes to fry.
I have other fishes to fry. What does that mean?
I have
think about that actual idiom given in the question. I have other fishes to fry. Actually, the idiom is something else, but okay, I have other fishes to fry. I have bigger fishes to fry. Andre, fish fry alla. So that means I have something else much important to do, more important stuff to do. Then, any other idioms which we discussed in class?
Lion's share.
Lion's share. Andre, you can just think practically. Lion's share andre Lion's share means lion is the king of the jungle. Okay, share jasti irutte. Adra yochne ಮಾಡಿ. Think whatever comes to your mind. Adra yochne ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನೇನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ತಲೆಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕಲಿ. ಲಯನ್ ಶೇರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲಯನ್ ಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಜಂಗಲ್, ಶೇರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಶೇರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಅ ಬಿಗರ್ ಶೇರ್ ತರ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ idioms which you used?
A bolt from a blue.
A bolt from a blue, out of the blue ತರ. A bolt from a blue, you're not expecting something, suddenly something come and hits you, you're not expecting that at all. ಆತರ ಬಂತು. Out of the blue ಅಂದ್ರೆ same, you're not expecting something, out of the blue something came. So I actually prepared for this chapter, but out of the blue this question came from this chapter ಅಂತೀರಾ exam ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ, right? And we also used once in blue moon. ಏನ್ ಸಮೀರಾ?
A bed of roses example.
A bed of roses ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು?
Easy walk.
So bed ಇದೆ, roses ದೇ ಬೆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. What can you imply from this? So first thoughts ಏನೇನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ. This how you break it up, convert it to local language and translate and see actual meaning, figurative meaning ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ. So think, when you say bed of roses, ಬೆಡ್ ಇದೆ, ರೋಸಸ್ ಇಂದ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಹಿಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಬೆಡ್ ಹಂಗಂದ್ರೆ. ಸೊ ಆತರ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ you can actually look at the answer and start writing it. So always break it up, break that idiom up. Think the literal meaning ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, because the figurative meaning will be different, actual meaning will be different. Literal actual meaning ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಆ meaning now you can compare it with the options, you will definitely get the answer. Any last idiom which we saw in class?
Sir, black sheep, sir.
Black sheep. Black sheep ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Sheeps are always white. Yes, sheeps are white. But when you say he is the black sheep, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು? ಎಲ್ಲ sheep white ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇವನ್ ಮಾತ್ರ black ಇದಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ he is different, he is the odd one out. So answer is odd one out. So we should think. So don't directly look at the idiom and say idiom na nodella life alli, I'll skip this question andre you will lose 1 mark. So think and compare it to some real life incident or on kade compare ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ, think, break it up and see. Again, black sheep, sheeps are always white. If a sheep is black, what does that mean? It's an odd one out. Answer is odd one out. Atara, it's a different one, so odd one out tara. Then
The ball is
quickly last one.
The ball is
in your court. The ball is in your court andre ಏನು? So there is a court, the ball is in your court. So court ಅಲ್ಲಿ ball ಇದೆ, ball is in your court, ನಿನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು?
Your chance
of making
you are supposed to take the decision now. ನಿನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ball ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ you are supposed to take the decision now. ಆತರ meaning ಬರುತ್ತೆ. How, where will we use this? I will say, see, I think this is correct, but she thinks that is correct. I will put the ball in her court. That means let her take the decision. ಆತರ meaning ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So always break it up and see, you will definitely get marks there. It may sound difficult, idioms, but actually it's easy. You can actually score easy marks, but you should know how to approach the question. Next, comprehension. Again, let us look at the stages very quickly. We are running short of, we're already past, I mean, we're not past time, we're running short of time. Strategy is to attempt a comprehension passage. So, quickly read to get the main idea. We discussed this step by step in class. Entire passage na onsati odi. Don't do anything, just read the passage with an open mind. You will get the idea behind the paragraph. You will not get the question answers or anything, you will get the idea behind the paragraph. Onsati read ಮಾಡಿ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ you will get the main idea. What is the main theme of the passage anta you will get an idea. Next, underline keywords, points, statements. Many a times when you read the passage, no, there will be one line or one fact or something, question without even looking at the question there, ನೀವು passage ನೋಡಿದಾಗಲೇ ಓ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳಿರಬಹುದು ಅವರು ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ದಟ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ಏನೇ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಏನಿ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ತರ ಕೇಳೋ ತರ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್, ಕೀಪ್ ಇಟ್ ರೆಡಿ. ಲೇಟರ್ ಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಒನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಡನ್, ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಆಲ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒನ್ ಬೈ ಒನ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಏನೇನ್ ಕೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ರೀಡ್ ದ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ರೀಡ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. If required, underline the main points in the question. You should not be like question ಕೇಳಿರೋದೇ ಬೇರೆ, ನೀವು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರ್ದಿರೋದೇ ಬೇರೆ ಅಂತ ಬರಬಾರ್ದು. So understand what exactly the intention of the question is, right? So question ನೋಡಿ, understand, be very specific. ಏನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, keep it ready. After that, reread the passage, mark specific question information. So you already read the passage, you read the questions now. ಇವಾಗ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಓ ಈ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ. So go back to the passage, read the passage once again. Questions biratalva, start marking the answers there. I mean, they say you should not write on the question paper, but you can underline and keep it, no problem. If they say no, you should not underline also, you can erase it. Use a pencil always to underline or write anything on the paper. First of all, don't write, but you can set an underline, star marks, tick marks, you can use it, but don't make it too evident. ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ, and after that you can erase it if you want to not get into trouble. So after you read the question, go back to the passage, read the passage once again, and wherever you come across answers to the questions, make a note. And MCQs as applicable to all questions in BCR chapter, very close options may be provided. Choose the most appropriate one. So one question ge 4 options alli ಎರಡು answer may look very similar. Idu correct irbodu, adu correct irbodu. There may be questions like this. In such case, what you should do, answer which comes closer. You think it may be right or wrong, but you don't know. No? Closer ಯಾವ್ದು ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೋ, you write that. So what type of questions may be asked here in this passage? Comprehension passage alli direct questions. What is this? Who did that? What is this? What happened? Then direct questions kelbodu. They may ask you to even write a title of the passage in few cases. Passage ge title bariri ondu. Idioms, phrases, synonyms, antonyms adu kelbodu bekandre illi. Direct indirect speech kelbodu. Anything from other chapters also may be asked here, or MCQs may also be asked here, or usually 5 questions keltare. They may ask 3 direct questions. And then they may say, write a summary of this paragraph for 2 marks. Adukku ready irbek ನೀವು, right? Next, again I've already discussed this. Specific detailed questions ಇರಬಹುದು. Passage ಅಂದ್ರೆ direct questions ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Question ಇರುತ್ತೆ, answer direct ಆಗಿ passage ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Just copy paste, 1 mark guarantee. Vocabulary based questions, again idioms, phrases ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು ಬೇರೆ chapter ಇಂದ. Inference questions. So you should draw inference and conclusion. We should be able to analyze and evaluate the options. So for example, direct question iralla, you have to think and answer. Ontara summary ತರ ಮಾಡೋ ತರನೋ, or meaning ಏನು conclusion ತರ ಇದೆಯೋ, you will have to think and infer and write. Next, main idea question. Identify the theme of the passage, understand, apply and evaluate. A full question alli they may give you an entire passage or 2-3 passages ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು what is the main idea of the passage ಅಂತನೂ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆ ತರನ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. So various types of question can be asked within the same question. From different chapters can also be asked. Direct questions may be asked, or conclusion type of question may also be asked. Okay, next, quickly moving on to note making and note taking, right? Someone who can quickly summarize this in 1 minute. I want both topics to be summarized. Who will summarize quickly?
So may I?
Please go on.
So note making is something like the paragraph will be given. We have to summarize it in a concise manner. Linear means everything will be in a chart form.
Okay.
Non-linear means it will not be in a chart form. It will be in an abstract manner. So only the intended keywords will be put in those blanks.
Okay. What's the difference between note taking and note making?
So note taking is something is going on. Like if we do some minutes, that is note taking. Note making is already it is given. We have to just summarize it. Like caps material is already given. We have to maintain a 200-page notebook. That is note making. Whereas note taking is we maintain a running notes. In between the classes, we just jot down. That is note taking.
So I have to give an example of the actual class itself, what I'm doing now. You said you are supposed to maintain a summary book. Whatever I'm explaining in class, will you start writing that in the summary book directly? Not necessarily. You will first make a note. Scribble ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು paper ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ example ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತಲ್ಲಿ you will make a note first. Then using those notes, you will prepare your final notes. So what you write now, what Madhumita is writing now is called note taking. ಈ note taking use ಮಾಡಿ we will do note making. First note taking ಇರುತ್ತೆ, you will scribble first, then properly you will make notes. Or in other cases, passage ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, we will have to make notes. So that is also note making. First note taking ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ note making ಬರುತ್ತೆ in this order. Or note making ಇದ್ರೆ you can see here linear okay type ಇದೆ, but note taking ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, it's a passive process. Scribble down unselective information without any processing. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬರೀತಾ ಇರೋದಷ್ಟೇ. Tries to cover maximum information without highlighting the main points. ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಫುಲ್ ಬರ್ಬಿಡಿ. ಯಾವುದೇ no specific order, no specific rules, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ you write scribble in one place. Note making andre active and focused activity. From the notes which you have, ಏನೇನ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೆಯೋದು. Easy to read and write and less theoretical. Makes it easier to distinguish between important issues and details. So ಏನು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ. If a point, ಅದು supporting point separate ಆಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ. Again there are various types. No, linear ಅಂದ್ರೆ which follows what? a line, one below the other, follow ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. What is other type of note making?
Non-linear, sir.
What is the example which we used?
Chart.
Chart ತರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, or that tree ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. So that link ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, all that combinations ಆತರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ನೀವು. So again, if this question is asked, no, if they simply ask you differentiate between linear and non-linear ತರ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, or what is linear ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, write with one example also, or you write this content also directly. So give some extra information to them. Okay, strategies for effective note making. Question ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ, exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ question ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ note making ಬಗ್ಗೆ what should you do? Read the text twice, identify the main idea and draw important points. Because always note making ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಯಾವ ತರ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು main theme ಇರುತ್ತೆ. From the main theme there will be supporting points also. So your main theme should be one, supporting point one. ಆ supporting point ಗೆ there may be sub-supporting points also. ಅದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗಡೆನೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ನೀವು. Next second main point, ಅದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ supporting points. So always categorize it like this and read. So read the text twice, identify the main idea and draw important points. Look at how main idea has been presented or developed and frame a suitable title or heading. Title or heading is very, very important. Suitable title, short title to the point title should be there. Be brief and specific, skip examples. No examples, no supporting facts, ಏನು ಬೇಡ. Very brief, very concise, very specific. Write short points in logical sequence which should be complete info. Chick-chickdagi baribodu, don't give elaborate sentences or discussions. Keep it very short. Indentation, appropriate spacing between heading, subheading and sub points. So if heading starts from here, subheading starts from here, subheading starts from here. So itra gap ಅಲ್ಲಿ indent ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರೀತೀರಾ ನೀವು. One minute, I think some issue with the pen, or else I would have written on the screen and showed you, but you get the point. ಇಲ್ಲಿ start ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ heading sub points ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ start ಮಾಡಿ, sub points ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ start ಮಾಡಿ. So give some proper indents in the beginning. No personal interpretations, do not change the author's intended meaning. Now you are not summarizing this or concluding this or writing in your own words. No personal interpretations allowed. You are only using the passage and writing notes. Adhan convert ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ in a different format. Paragraph ಇಂದ notes ತರ linear notes ತರ convert ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. Don't change the emotions, don't change the intentions, don't change the interpretations. Keep it as it is. ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಬರಿಬೇಕು. Meaning change ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಬರೋದಾಗ. Abbreviate most often used words. Now if you're using one word once, then you can write the full word. Or if you're using the common word, you can use that. Or if you're using the same government, for example, something to do with the government project, if you're using government word too often, you write govt. ಕೆಳಗಡೆ key ಬರಿಬೇಕು ನೀವು. govt ಅಂದ್ರೆ government ಅಂತ you will have to write the keys below the note. If you're using it once, you can as well directly write it there. But if you're using more than once, ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬಂದು you will have to write the keys there. Legend ತ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ. key ಬರೆದು you will have to write. Okay. Next, summary and précis. Both are practically the same. If I have to tell you, ಎರಡು practically same. What are you doing here? End result ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ? One big passage ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. What will you do from that? You will have to concise that. ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದನ್ನು. But actual difference in a summary and précis ಗೆ, the main difference is the number of words to be used. Content ಎಷ್ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, that is the main difference. If they say write a summary, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. précis ಬರೀರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. So let us look at the differences. Who will read out from the screen quickly?
Summary, newer term. Précis, older term. Shorter condensed version of a longer essay. Précis, shortening of original text in one's own words.
Wait. What do you mean by this? Difference ಏನು? Second difference ಏನು?
Sir, ಅದು summary andre we already have a paragraph. We just bring it down, concise it.
Okay.
Whereas in précis writing, we concise it. Along with that, we add our own thoughts and expressions to it.
Okay. Move to the next one. Then we'll have a look at it then.
Summary, writer is free to change the order if need be. Précis follows order of the original text.
Okay. What does that mean? Ade order ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಅಂತ. Next.
A writer is free to interpret and comment on original text.
Okay.
In précis, state only the thought of original text.
Okay.
Sir, I told it vice versa. In summary,
Okay.
word limit not exceeding 25% of original text. In Prezi, word limit not exceeding 1/3 of original text. Summary, 2-mark question. Prezi, 4 or 5-mark questions.
So summary ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ they will give a paragraph and they will ask you to write a small summary. Like how I usually give example of this big case loss, right? Case loss may run into thousands of pages, but when before you even read the case loss, first alle summary ತರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, because that is what you need. Summary ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, conclusion ಏನು, ಅದನ್ನ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಮರೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು, that is summary. But when it comes to Prezi writing, you are converting the text to 1/3 of the original text. Summary we converted 25%. So if there are 100 words, we'll convert to 25 words. If there are 100 words in Prezi, we will convert to 1/3 of the original text, which is 33 words. Right? Now, again, here, more than summary Prezi, you will lose time in counting the number of words in the exam if you don't practice. What is the practice technique I told you in class? I think Nagashri ma'am also have told you the same thing. Don't go and try or count the number of words in the exam hall. Your time is very, very precious. Law ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, law especially may take more time. Even BCR may also take some time. ನೀವು ಟೈಮ್ ನ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಯಕ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. 33% ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1 2 3 4 5 ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ವೇಸ್ಟ್. ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಮ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್, ನೀವು ವೇಸ್ಟ್. ಅವಾಗ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಯು ಡೂ? ಟೇಕ್ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ತೆಗೆದು Prezi writing ಕ್ವಶನ್ ತೆಗಿರಿ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಸಿ, ಈ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ number of words in a line will be different. In question paper, number of words in a line will be different, right? So ee ತರ ಇದ್ದಾಗ which one do you follow? So follow the exam question paper only. First last year question paper ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಮೊದಲು, or ಯಾವ್ದು previous year question paper ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. So question paper ಅಲ್ಲಿ indentation same ಇರುತ್ತೆ, right? Take the paper, write first line ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು words ಇದೆ count ಮಾಡಿ. First line ಎಷ್ಟು words ಇದೆ count ಮಾಡಿ, you will get an average of how many words are there in each line. I actually give an elaborate exercise in class. First line 3 lines, then 5 lines, ಅದರ elaborate exercise ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. But you can cut it short and say one line ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು words ಬರುತ್ತೆ. And one line ಅಲ್ಲಿ, for example, there are 12 words. If there are 8 lines in the paragraph, so one line ಅಲ್ಲಿ 12 words ಅಂದ್ರೆ 8 lines ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? 12 8 is 96. 96 ಅಂದ್ರೆ more or less 96 to 100 words ಅಂದ್ರೆ Prezi writing ಅಲ್ಲಿ you will have to convert it to 30 words. 1/3 of 96, which is around 31 words only, will have to finish, right? So how will you write in 30? Will you write this is 1 2 3 4 count ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? No. So again you write, because question paper ಅಲ್ಲಿ one line ಅಲ್ಲಿ 12 words ಇದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ one line ಅಲ್ಲಿ 6 words ಇರಬಹುದು. Yes, because your font may be different, your size for the font or spacing may be different. So what you do, ನೀವು ಬರ್ದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ during revisions and other times ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ದು ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದಾಗ one line ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಆ ಸೇಮ್ ಲೈನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ, ಆರ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ದು one line ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಫಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಫಿಟ್ 7 words ಫಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ದು ಇವಾಗ Prezi ಅಲ್ಲಿ there was how many 8 lines in one word, 12 lines in one word, 8 lines, so 12 8 is 96 words total. Assume you have to convert it to 32 words. 32 words ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಇವಾಗ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಬರೆದಾಗ you will fit in only 8 words in one line. So how many lines should you use then? One line ಅಲ್ಲಿ question paper ಅಲ್ಲಿ 12 words, in your book 8 words. So one line ಅಲ್ಲಿ 8 words ಇದ್ರೆ 32 words ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಗೆ. So 8 4s are 32. 32 divide by 8, 4 lines ಅಲ್ಲಿ you will have to finish. So ಬರ್ದಾಗ first line starting ಅಲ್ಲಿ, fourth line ending ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ. ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು you can then write ಅದೇ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬನ್ನಿ. 4 lines ಬಂದಾಗ you can be assured that 32 words ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. 1 or 2 3 words here and there ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, which is okay. But more or less the gist ಒಂದು ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಟ್ ಹೋಮ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಓಕೆ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಇಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಇಷ್ಟು ಬರಿಬೇಕು, ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ನನ್ನ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಮೆನಿ ಲೈನ್ಸ್, ಲೈನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸೀದಾ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. When you put a line also, for example 5 lines ಅಂದಾಗ at the end of 5th line you mark a line, you can summarize and conclude easily. ಎಲ್ಲ 4 ಲೈನ್ ಬರ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಇನ್ನು 3 ಲೈನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ you can't fit it in, you can't exceed the time word limit also, no? So what you should do, ಬರ್ದಾಗ್ಲೇ 5 lines ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಬರ್ದಾಗ್ಲೇ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ 5 lines ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಯೋದರನೇ ಬರ್ದ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಅವಾಗ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, 5 lines ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಮುಗ್ದಂಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, I see someone has told me that you have to go to college. You can take a leave. Probably you can watch the video on YouTube later, right? If you have any doubts, you can reach out to me offline later.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. So the same technique is mentioned here. So whatever I said, same thing is told here. Example, number of words are different, but you know the gist. Question paper ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬುಕ್ಕಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮೊದಲೇ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿ then go and write it. Okay. Article writing. Move on to the next format, which is creative based writing, which is article writing and report writing. Right? So we'll quickly run through. Who will tell me? It's already 9:15. We're supposed to finish at 9:30, but it's okay. We may extend if need be. But quickly, someone will summarize this. Article writing ಏನು ಇರಬೇಕು? See, in any creative writing, no, be it even emails, letter writing, article writing, report writing, always keep the structure in place, which is introduction, body, conclusion. ಯಾವುದೇ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಇರಲಿ, ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್, ಬಾಡಿ, ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ನ ಬರೀಲೇಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಬಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಮೇಲ್ ಇದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಲೆಟರ್ ಇದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಆರ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಆರ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಇದ್ರು ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್, ಇಂಟ್ರೋ, ಬಾಡಿ, ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಬೇಕು. ಇಂಟ್ರೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? You can make a note of this. Tell them what you are going to tell them. Intro ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Tell them what you are going to tell them. Without telling you, you're telling them issue ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಬರೀರಿ. Some introduction about the topic. ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬೇಕು. Don't directly jump into the topic. So ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ heads up ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ introduction about the topic ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ. Second point is tell them. First point was tell them what you're going to tell them. Second point is actually tell them, which is your actual body, actual facts or figures, ಏನೇನಿದೆಯೋ actual content ನ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. Third, conclusion ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Tell them what you told them. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಹೇಳಿದಿರಾ ಅದನ್ನ you tell them again. That is concluding, right? So intro ಅಲ್ಲಿ give a heads up, introduce ಮಾಡಿ. Then we have body, tell them actual content, then conclusion, summarize ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. Or what is the takeaway, call for action ಏನಿದೆ, or next ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು, ಅಥವಾ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ತರ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ರೂಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಸಚ್. ಈ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಬರೆದಾಗ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನೋ ದ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಕೀಪ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಲಿ ರೈಟ್. ಬಟ್ ದ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮೋರ್ ಆರ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಸೇಮ್, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಟೈಟಲ್, ಹೈ ಕ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್, illustrate the central theme or main idea. Now if there is a ವೆರಿ ಬಿಗ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ ಮೇನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ 3 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಡೂ, ಮೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದ್ರ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ನಾವು ಐ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲಿ, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ಅ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ನೈಸ್ ಅಡ್ವೈಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಗಿವ್. ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಬೋರ್ಡ್. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಅದರ್ ವೇ ಇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್. ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಥೀಮ್, ಮೇನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ಅದ್ರ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ರಿವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. Next, byline, as in who wrote, author's name, by whom, adhan barutte next. Next, introduction, establish the context, giving startling facts, statistics. Instead of directly telling if you smoke you will die anbitre, what's the point? But instead give facts, saying that 75% of the people who smoke are prone to lung disease. India there are 60% of people who do that. Istu ಏನೋ ಒಂದು facts and figures ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ವಾವ್ ಅನ್ಸ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ. They should be interested to read further. Starting ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ then there is no interest, right? So establish the context first using some facts, figures, some quotes, statistics. Adhan establish context establish ಮಾಡಿ then move on to the body. Body should be 2 to 3 paragraphs. Again, each paragraph may convey a different sub point, or if there is one main idea, again you can classify it under different paragraphs also. Talk about various aspects of the topic, pros and cons, side effects, etc. ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್, ಅದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ, ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಯೂಸ್ ಏನು, ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಏನು, ಸೈಡ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ಅದ್ರ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಬೈ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀರಿ. ದೆನ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಟು ದ ಬಾಡಿ. ಏನೇನು ಬರ್ದಿದ್ರೋ ಒಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಅವೇಸ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಎಂಡ್, ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ವಿತ್ ಅನ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್, ರೆಕಮೆಂಡೇಶನ್, ವಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್, ಅಪೀಲ್, ಕಾಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್. ಕಾಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಆತರ. So it can be last ಅಲ್ಲಿ, opinion this is ಬರಿಬಹುದು, or you recommend that this is because of all this you recommend that this may happen, or warning ತರ, I appeal to you that this is ಅಂತನೋ. So there should be a proper conclusion. Sir, examples, conclusion ಈ ತರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. Next, steps in article writing. How do you actually write an article? Again, you can't simply take a piece of paper and write an article freely. They say the best of scripts are not written, they are rewritten. right? The best speech is script baritaralva, it is not written, it is actually rewritten. Similarly, ಇಲ್ಲಿ identify the target audience first. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನೀವು? For example, I am talking to you, I am using both Kannada and English, right? Many faculties use the same, cities are also same, many faculties may use the same, Kannada English irutte. But if I am going to, I take trainings in income tax department also, allog matadaga I will not use Kannada, I will not crack many jokes. I still remember, where is Harshit? She not here today. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರು ಜೋಕ್ ನೆನ್ಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಜೋಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, I can make it more interactive, more funny ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಐ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಇನ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ನೋ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಕಮಿಷನರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಾನು. ಸೊ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಹೂ ದ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಚೇಂಜ್ ದ ಟೋನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಆರ್ ದ ವೇ ಐ ರೈಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ರೈಟ್? Identify the target audience, ಯಾರು, who is the article intended to. Identify the purpose of writing, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನೀವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ನ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಗ್ಯಾದರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್, ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನೇನು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಗ್ಯಾದರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ದ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಶಿಯಲಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾಜಿಕಲಿ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ್ದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ್ದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಟ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ನೋಟ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಟ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ದೆನ್ ಯು ರೈಟ್ ದ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್. ಯು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ರೆಡಿ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಯು, ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ತರ ಬರ್ದಿರ್ತೀರ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ನೋಟ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ತರ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಟು ಅ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್, ರೈಟ್? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್. ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಸಮ್ ಇವೆಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್, ಯು ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು? ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ 3 categories ಇದೆ. We have newspaper report, magazine report, formal or official reports. Again, newspaper ಅಲ್ಲಿ you come across all these reports in newspapers, no? Magazines ಅಲ್ಲಿ you come across in the magazine, but formal or official reports there is no format as such, but again we follow a sequential format. Let us look at the difference between newspaper report and magazine report first. Heading, title will be there. Whatever report you are writing, there should be a proper heading and a title. Next, by ಯಾರು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದು ಅಂತ author's name will be there in both newspaper article as well as magazine report. If you look at newspaper report alli heading irutte by so and so, and newspaper alli nodidaglu place kodtare. Next, in the paragraph starting alli place kodirtare. For example, heading irutte, then by who wrote it, then Bangalore anta board alli bardu colon haki, then they will write the article. That's how it is written in the newspaper. But magazine alli place date ella kodak hogalla usually, but newspaper alli this is extra. Place and it will be extra in the newsletter report. And body of the report, again body ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ? ಸೇಮ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೋ, ಬಾಡಿ, ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್. ಇದೇ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ when you are supposed to write in detail, intro ಅಂದ್ರೆ give context, what you're talking about. Next, body, talk about that. Third, summarize what you spoke about or give a recommendation. ಅಥವಾ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ, ಟೇಕ್ ಅವೇ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ, ಕಾಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Formal reports, official reports ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? You're writing a formal report. I think there is no format as such. It may be anything for that matter. ಏನ್ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, you have audit report ಇರುತ್ತೆ, annual report ಇರುತ್ತೆ, sales report ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ audit report etc will have its own format there. ಬಟ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನ್ ಬರೀತೀರಾ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, audit report. Did I show you audit report or no? I think I don't know if I showed these reports in class. I forgot. But again, format will change based on what you're writing. There is no fixed formal report ಹಿಂಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ, right? Formal report ಅಂತ there is no category as such, and ಅದೇ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ. Depending on what you are writing, there are formats. For example, audit report ಅಲ್ಲಿ first responsibilities ಬರುತ್ತೆ, then ಇದೇನ್ ಅವ್ರ ನಮ್ಮ responsibilities, client responsibilities ಬರುತ್ತೆ, then ಏನು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, then ಅದೇನೋ. So there is a fixed format. Same thing, sales report ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದು ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆನ್ಯುವಲ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ ನಾನ್ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರೋ ಬರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಆಡಿಟ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 300-400 ಪೇಜಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಏನು, ಅದೇನು, ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಏನು, ಅದೇನು, ಇದೇನು, ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ಸ್, ಕನ್ಸಾಲಿಡೇಟ್, ಅದು ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್, ಅದು ಬೇಡ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ವಿಚ್ letter or which report you are writing, the format will vary. In the question they may tell you, write a newspaper report ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು? ಮೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಒಂದ್ ಲೈನ್ 1 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು, ಬೈ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅದಿದ್ಯಾ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಬರೀತಿರೋ ಆ ತರ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೋ, ಬಾಡಿ, ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ಬರೀರಿ, ರೈಟ್? So we'll come back to some points a little later. Points to remember, we'll quickly read through because we don't have time. Reports are objective. Objective ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Suggestions and recommendation should be purely based on facts and data, no subjective news. It should be supported with facts. Andre concreteness. You can go back and check communication alli. personal pronouns in the first and second person are generally not used. What does that mean? I, we, you, us, usually they are not used when it comes to personal pronouns. Passive voice is preferred for newspaper and magazines, while active voice for official reports. You've seen what active and passive voice is, no? I mean, we have not seen directly, but active andre eno? Focus will be on the subject or object. Who's going to tell me?
Object.
Object. Okay. Anyone else with a different answer? Active voice. Focus will be on what? Subject or object? Wait, let me pick someone and ask. Nisarga, are you here? Nisarga? Disha? Nisarga or Disha? Who's here? You are sumne zoom on ಮಾಡಿ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂತ.
Yes, sir. I'm there.
Yes, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಥವಾ you're there?
I'm there, sir.
Okay. So what do you think? Active voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ subject importance ಇರುತ್ತಾ object importance ಇರುತ್ತಾ?
Sir, subject.
Subject. Someone else told object some time back. Think about this. We'll discuss towards the end. Okay. So passive voice is preferred for newspaper and magazines, while active voice for official reports. Official reports andre your formal letters in official reports other than magazine newspapers. We use active voice. Passive voice now we use it for newspapers and magazines. Past tense is used as reporting on events happening which have already taken place. Report andre ಏನು ಆಗಿದೆ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ report ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. So mostly it's past tense only. So we'll use past tense. Technical jargon may be avoided if necessary to include add a glossary. Andre jargon andre ಏನು specific to that particular field they may use some words which other departments may not know, right? So ಈ case ಅಲ್ಲಿ avoid using such words. In case you use add a glossary towards the end. Glossary ಅಂದ್ರೆ meanings ತರ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರೆದು ಈ jargon meaning ಇದು ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು, right? These are specific points. General points andre again target audience ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ. Language should be clear, crisp and to the point. Don't beat around the bush. Avoid long sentences, vague information and irrelevant information. ಬೇಡದೆಲ್ಲ ತೆಗೆದಾಕಿ, ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಮಾತ್ರ you can keep. Arrange information logically and sequentially. First ಏನು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರದ್ದು, and then main point ಏನು ಸಬ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ main point ಸಬ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು, then solution ಏನಿದೆ, ಈ ತರ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ sequentially. No grammatical errors. Proofreading preferred for accuracy. Okay, this is common. Next, quickly moving on to formal letters. There are three types of letters. One is business or official letters, letter highlighting civic problems, and job applications. Actually 7 types of letters. We're categorizing it into 3 categories here: business or official letters, letters highlighting civic problems, and job applications. So idರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? Business or official letters ಅಲ್ಲಿ making inquiries. We already discussed in detail in class. Making inquiries ಅಲ್ಲಿ you are asking about something. Second, registering complaints. ಏನೋ issue ಇದೆ, complaint raise ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. Place or cancel orders. So again, how to approach this I'll tell you later, but I'm telling you what are the types. Place or cancel order, place ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ cancel ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಲೆಟರ್ ಬರೀತೀರಾ. Response, reply in response to a query. ಏನೋ query ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು. Next, letter to editor. ಅದೊಂದು letter to concerned authorities regarding civic problems or application seeking for a job. Now the 8 types of letter alone, content will be specific to the problem, right? But always be polite. And when you are giving a reference to any other previous mail, for example, reply in response to an inquiry, how will you start the letter? There's already an inquiry, no? You're replying to that now. So when you are replying, give reference to the inquiry also, right? Or complaint ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, second time complaint ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, you can add first time complaint ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ, dated this, action is not taken it, so ಇದು following up ಆ ತರ. So if there is a requirement, always I can give proper reference. If there is any inquiry or first already complaint ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ನೀವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, or application seeking for a job, out of the don't write dear sir I'm looking for a job, please give me a job. Job application ನೀವು ಬರಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸಿಕ್ತು ನಿಮಗೆ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್? ನೀವು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಾ, ಟಿವಿಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಾ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನ, ಯೂನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನ, ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂತು? ವಿತ್ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಯುವರ್ ಅಡ್ವರ್ಟೈಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಡೇಟೆಡ್ ಸೊ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೊ. ಆ ತರ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಜನರಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. Points to keep in mind while writing a formal letter. Use the specified format. Leave an additional link between paragraphs as no indentation is used. Now, not making a leave, use indentation. No, but here we are not using an indentation. So leave one line gap. State reason for writing the first paragraph. That's what I told you. Always, when you're writing the first paragraph, don't directly jump to the point. Enik barita idira anta you write. Right. I'm writing this letter with respect to your inquiry regarding this. Enik barita idira. In backdate information, reference itta, link itta, then you write. And details that will make receiver's task easy. More details kotre olledu. If writing to service center, mention model number, year of manufacture, invoice number, etc. So you can't simply say, dear sir, I bought this phone from you 2 years back, it is not working. So even you give more details, model number, invoice number, they will help you with more information. So wherever required, give proper information, but don't give unnecessary information. Refer to previous correspondence, if any. I told you, with in follow-up to my email dated so and so, this is a following follow-up email regarding this action has not been taken. Atara. So if you have already sent a mail or if there's already communication earlier, give a reference to that. Format. You know the format now. Sender's address, from, date. We'll write the date, then designation and name of the addressee. So usually, I mean, now in the current situation, we'll not write sender address first and all that. We'll start with date and to. But your format says start with sender's address. So from, to, from date to, then address, to the point. In address of the assessee, salutation. So first write designation to the finance manager. To Mr. Somal Khanna, finance manager, so and so organization bardu, address bardu, then write the salutation. Dear sir, dear madam. I also give a technique here. If you are writing addressing a person directly, you can write the name. How will you write? Either dear, first name. For example, my name is Shashank Bhatt. You can say dear Shashank. Or if you want to use my surname, you can say dear Mr. Bhatt. So if you're writing the name, first name, write the first name directly. If you're writing the surname, you write Mr., Mrs. or Miss, write the surname. Or in case you don't know if the person is a male or female, you simply don't say dear sir or madam. You say dear sir / madam. Because for example, Kiran barita idare email na. Kiran hudgana hudigina. Hudganu ashte hudigina ashte. So what will you do in this case? You say dear Kiran and barbittu you, she ಅಂತ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಬರ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ, she will take offense. So again, vice versa no ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So in case you don't know who it is, you don't know who you're writing a letter to, you can't simply say dear sir, dear madam, or you can't write the name also because you don't know. You can write dear sir / madam. Salutation ali. Then subject. What is the subject of this? If you have any reference also, you can write in the subject itself. Subject bariri. Like a title. Then content. Again, see, content alone. Intro, body, conclusion. Introduction. Directly don't jump in. Reference then body, then conclusion. So for example, if you're applying for a job, you came across your advertisement dated so and so in this paper as in position again. I'm applying for this position. Next, body alli apply ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಏನ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬರೀತೀರಾ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್, ವಾಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಆಫರ್ ಟು ದ ಕಂಪನಿ ವಿತ್ ಆಲ್ ಮೈ ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಐ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಾನ್ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರೀತೀರಲ್ವಾ, ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್, ರೈಟ್. Next, complimentary close. You can say ella bardadmele, you can say thanking you, looking to hear from you soon, or looking forward for your response, looking for a quick response, looking for your prompt action. You know antara bardu. Signature is the actual signature alla. Usually we write thank you, your name, and close. Okay. Next, types of letters we already discussed. Letters of inquiry, who are you, requirement, timelines. Order letter, buyer to seller requesting for delivery of goods, must contain info about the product delivery and payment. Ella detail ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು. ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಯಾವುದು, ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಗಿವ್ ಮಿ 5 products of this ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೇಗ್. ಲೆಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್, notify the company about dissatisfaction with the product, provide relevant service details. So details ಕೊಡಿ. Reply to letter of complaint, first apologize, address issue, corrective actions, reassurance. So letter of complaint ಬಂದಿದೆ, ನೀವು ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ, ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ಸೇ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಕೇರ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಗಿಯುತ್ತೆ. ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಅಪಾಲಜೈಸ್. We are sorry to hear that you are facing this issue. ನೀವು ಟ್ವಿಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಹಂಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ. when you complain na network ಸಿಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಂಗೆ ಅಂತ, what is the common response you get? Oh, we are so sorry that you're facing this issue ಅಂತಾನೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ I'd start with the we are sorry that we apologize for the troubles caused. We are sorry you're facing this issue. And then ಏನ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಇದೆ, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು, ಅಂಡ್ ರಿವರ್ಷನ್ಸ್. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಶೂರ್ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಅಗೇನ್. ಈ ತರ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್. ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ಲೆಟರ್, ಗ್ರೀಟ್, ಆಫರ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್, ಆಫರ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡಿಟಿ, ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ಲೆಟರ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಗ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಂಗ್ರಾಚುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆಫರ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾವವರೆಗೂ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಆಫರ್, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್, whom to contact. ಈ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಲೆಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ publicize and sell the product that is required for sales promotion, strengthen relations and make customers feel important. Okay. Recovery letter, recovery without annoying customers. Talk about amount due, due date of payment, legal action in case of non-adherence. ನೀವು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ನು ಟಕ್ಕನ್ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಸೂಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಹ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ, ನೀವು ಟಾರ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. We have seen a lot of issues like this, no? So be polite, don't annoy them. Be polite and tell them, sir, your amount is due, ಇಷ್ಟ amount due ಇದೆ, ಇಷ್ಟೊಳಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಇನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಇನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನು ಇಷ್ಟ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಲೀಗಲ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಯು. ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಥ್ರೆಟನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ಲೈಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಓಕೆ. ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೆಮೋಸ್. Quickly, someone can summarize this quickly. Anyone from online batch now? Or should I select someone? Online batch, or anyone, quickly summarize. 1 minute to the whole life. Omkarishwar, are you there? Omkarishwar. Kiran Hegde. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಎಲ್ಲ ಝೂಮ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈಡ್ಗೆ. ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆರ್ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಝೂಮ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ವೇರ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್? ಎನಿವನ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ? ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಚ್ ಅವರಾದ್ರು ಹೇಳಿ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೆಮೋ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ.
So circulars are generally for a larger audience, and memorandum memo is for the smaller people, like smaller area people. And this memorandum is on a frequent basis, and that is basically in any organizations they usually follow this memorandum.
Okay.
So that's all I remember.
Okay. Anyone else? So circulars again, differentiate ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Circular means to make rounds amongst people. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಆತರ. ಬಟ್ ಮೆಮೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಪಾಲಿಸೀಸ್, ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ. ಸೊ ಮೆಮೋ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಳ್ಸಿದ್ರೆ ನಾಳೆಯಿಂದ ಆಫೀಸ್ 9:30 9 o'clock ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಇಸ್ ಅ ಮೆಮೋ. ಆತರ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್, ಈ ತರ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಈ ತರ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಲಾರ್ಜರ್ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಮೋ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್, ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ. ನಾಳೆಯಿಂದ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೀಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟು ಎವ್ರಿವನ್, ನೋ. Send it to a specific group of people, addressed to a specific group of people. Memo intended for selective audience, say sales department, admin department, etc. Office circulars primary focus on operational issues. Okay. Last one, official circulars used to convey a special message or an instruction to be followed in future. ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ you will write a circular. ಉದ್ದ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಬರೆದು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಯೂಶಲಿ ಐ ಗಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ GST ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್. whenever I come across circulars ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಯೂಶಲಿ ಶೋ ದ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಐ ಡಿಡ್ಂಟ್ ಶೋ. ಬಟ್ ಮೆಮೊರಾಂಡಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟು ರಿಮೈಂಡ್, ಹೈಲೈಟ್, ರೀಕೌಂಟ್, ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್, ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್, ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ಲಿ, ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ದಮ್ ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ, ಈ ತರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ. ರೈಟ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಲುಕ್ ಅಟ್ ಇಟ್, ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ರೈಟ್ ದ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ನಂಬರ್, ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು, ಡೇಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೈಟಲ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಟೈಟಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ circular in 3 or 4 words. 2, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ರ, to all employees, ಏನ್ ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ರ, some body and sign, name and designation, who was writing this circular ಅಂತ. If you look at the format of memo, what is different here? Name of the company will be on top, memo ಅಂತ ಬರೆದು simple say date, to ಯಾರಿಗೆ, from ಯಾರಿಗೆ, reference ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ, subject ಏನು, sign. So more or less it is same, but the format is slightly different. Internet audience is different, and what you're trying to convey will be different, right? So format memo circular ಏನ್ ಬರೀತೀರಾ, you will simply circular number, date, title ಬರ್ದು ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದು will write. But in case of a memo, write the name of the company ಬರ್ದು ಮೆಮೊ ಅಂತ ಟೈಟಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ವಿಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಡೇಟ್ ಇದು ಫ್ರಮ್ ಟು ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್. Email rating ಅಲ್ಲಿ what I did in class was more than looking at the books, I showed you actual emails only, right? I showed you in mails from my mailbox, main box, my sent box. I showed you how actually email works. So in email rating ಅಲ್ಲಿ first from your email ID to andre actual recipient of the email. Who is the main recipient of the email? Adu 2 ಗೆ CC ಏನು main person is someone, but you are also in loop. ನಿಮ್ಗೂ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ. You are not the main recipient, but you should also be in touch with this. ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. You are CC. BCC ಅಂದ್ರೆ you are sending a mail adding BCC, but no one else will get to know that you are receiving this mail. So for example, if I am sending a mail to Shetty sir, if Shetty sir is the intended recipient, I will say to Shetty sir, and I will mark Srinija madam, Prasanna sir, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ, I will mark them as CC. If I mark my wife, which I should not tell them, I will say CCC my wife, BCC my wife. So they will not get to know I have sent the mail to my wife. Adara, right? So CC andre others who are in loop, BCC andre mail hogutte, but they will not know. Others will not get to know that mail you kalisidira. Then subject, again to the point. Subject should be very, very important because I showed you in my mailbox I have 10,100 emails. But depending on subject, I will open the mail. Yaar kalisidare subject inde I will open ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So subject should be very important. Then salutation, again, dear sir. Main body, write the main body, then closing, conclusion. Again, body, conclusion should be here also. And then if you have any attachments, attach madi, then signature. Or if you are attaching some 15 reports, ella random attach madbitre gottagalla. So you can give a list of attachments also. Enen attach madidra, I'm attaching this in this report, and you can actually give a list of attachments which you have attached. Or else one or two attachments idre you can directly attach. You can make a note. Attached, idna attach madidini anta you can make a note in the body itself, right? Same email writing applies to letter writing also. Letter writing format ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಳಗಿತ್ತು. So BCC ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, and there salutation ಬಂದು ಆಮೇಲೆ subject ಬರುತ್ತೆ, but others are same, concept is same, intro body conclusion ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Only thing is platform is different. Letter ಅಲ್ಲಿ will write, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ you will type and send online. So 2 BCC ಅದೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Resume writing again, Samir was most interested in resume because he wanted phone numbers of girls of the resumes I showed, right? So more format ide. One is chronological, one is skill based, one is a combination of both. Chronological andre you write the objective first, then education barutte, then ಏನಂದ್ರು ಅದು skill ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅದು ಇದು achievements ಇದ್ರೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, then personal details ಇರುತ್ತೆ, close. Skill based andre more emphasis is given to your skills than your educational qualifications, right? Educationally 100 degree, 50 degree, 75 degree, we don't care. A skill idea nimge, I will take. Now for example, if Shetty sir wants to appoint me to take BCR classes at CAPS, will he look at my maths marks in the exam, or will he look at my actual talent, my speaking skills, my experience nodtara, then the maths science marks nodtara school the college do. So what is important here, adhan highlight ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ will write a skill based resume. You are applying for a job based on the skill required for the job. But if in case of a normal resume, we write a chronological resume. SWOT analysis andre ಏನು, strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. They will not ask questions on this, but if they ask about this, what is ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, first of all you should know what are your strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats. Using these you will have to fill the resume, because tomorrow the interviewer may ask, oh, tell me one weakness about you, and you can't say no, I don't have a weakness, I'm a perfect person andre please get out ante. You should know about your weakness first more than others, right? And it's not a fault to accept your weakness. Negative point another, tell me one negative point about me. Negative ಇಲ್ಲ sir, I am perfect ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು ಹೋಗಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಾರೆ. So negative ಹೇಳೋದು ದೊಡ್ಡದಲ್ಲ, but negative ಹೇಳಿ how do you counter it? ಆ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇಂದ what are you learning from it? ಆ ತರ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ಬಾರ್ದು. For example, I wake up very late, I can't wake up in the morning, or I'm very late ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಮುಗೀತು. They will not hire you because you are always late. But if you say I'm trying to wake up early, not to counter, ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದು 5 AM club book ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ನ trying to move to positive ಅಂದ್ರೆ it's a good point. They will at least address that you know the negative first. You should know more the negative than someone else pointing it to you. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ follow SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis ಬರ್ದು you can convert it to a resume, right? Cover letter ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, along with the resume you will attach a cover letter. ಅಂದ್ರೆ like a normal letter itself, a letter applying for a job ತರ. First reference ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸಿಕ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, I saw you came across the post dated so and so, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ದೆ, I intend to apply for the job, and new qualities ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬರೀರಿ, and what can you bring to the table. ಅದನ್ನು ಬರೀರಿ ನೀವು. ಬಟ್ ಡೋಂಟ್ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಐಟಮ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ಯೋರ್ ರೆಸ್ಯೂಮೆ, ರೈಟ್? ರೆಸ್ಯೂಮೆ ಇರೋದನ್ನೇ ಕಾಪಿ ಪೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ರೆಸ್ಯೂಮೆ ಎನಿವೇಸ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಡೋಂಟ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಪೇಸ್ಟ್. So write something which is not there, or you can add an incident or some extra points which you can validate, which is there in your resume, and then you can add it from here. So parts of a resume ಏನು ಇರುತ್ತೆ? Personal details, name, date of birth, contact details, address ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Email ID, phone number must. Okay. And I also told you, phone number you can't do much. Email ID ಅಲ್ಲಿ I told you this to offline batch, but online batch ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, in case you have a funky email ID, please delete it. ಆಯ್ತು, funky time ಹೋಯ್ತು ಇವಾಗ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ. ಓಕೆ, I gave a lot of examples asked also. Any email IDs which have your pet names, Chinnu, Munnu, Munna anta enadru idre tegiri, which has long numbers. No, if I ask, see, you can't guess my age. I may not like to tell my age. If I ask your age, will you be comfortable telling your age? No. But indirectly, email ID lakbiಡ್ತೀರಾ. Say, for example, ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಮಧುಮಿತಾ. So 260399 2603 Madhumita 260399 @gmail.com. But age, age ಹೇಳ್ತೀಯ ನಂಗೆ ಅಂತ you will feel offended. But email ID you are telling your age. So unnecessary numbers ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಡ, unnecessary words, pet names ಬೇಡ. Keep it as formal as possible. In case you have a ulta palta email ID, side get ಹೊಸದು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ. I can tell you my first email ID. Again, I used a nice thing about cool ಅಂತ. I was cool ಅಂತ I implied myself. I assume. So coolscb@gmail.com was my first email ID. SCB ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶಶಾಂಕ್ ಸಿ ಭಟ್ ಅಂತ. So coolscb@gmail.com. ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ವರ್ಗೂ ಮುಗೀತು. ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಯಾರಿಗೋದ್ರು ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಸರ್ ಶಶಾಂಕ್ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇಮೇಲ್ ಐಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ coolscb ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಾ ನಗ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇವನ್ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಲಾಫ್ ನೋ, ರೈಟ್? ಐ ಟೇಕ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಮೆನಿ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್. ಇಮೇಲ್ ಐಡಿ ಈ ತರ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಐ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಇಮೇಲ್ ಐಡಿ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಸೇ ಸಮ್ ವಾಟ್ cool dude vikas @gmail.com, funny girl this thing, ಆತರ ಏನೋ ಅಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು you praise yourself. Avoid all that. Have a standard email with your name and surname. But the problem with your generation is, I mean, our generation is, most of the email IDs will be taken. For example, if I can see Nandish Jain, you can't say nandishjain@gmail.com or nandish.jain@gmail.com. It will be taken, obviously, unless you have a very peculiar and unique name, right? So what can you do in that case? Add one or maximum of two numbers. Avoid using more numbers, because when you tell your email ID, no, for example, I meet Shetty sir, I tell him, sir, I want to apply for your company, I'll send you, or email ID ಕಳಿಸಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ Shetty sir. I will tell him Shashank 53539233@gmail.com. ಅಂದ್ರೆ how much will Shetty sir remember? But if I simply tell him Shashank sibat@gmail.com, he will remember easily. So it should be easily told by you, it should be easily pronounced by you, it should be easily remembered by the other person also, right? So adu email ID, phone number must hagde irbedi. Career objective, what are you looking for? Again, the mistake people do is copy paste from Google. If an interviewer asks you objective bardidra, please read out and bitre ba antre, because mostly it's copy paste. So you should know what you're writing here. Enik barita idra resume, enik apply ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಾ ಅಂತ try writing in your own words. You can take inspiration. Okay, you can copy, direct copy ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, take inspiration. Similar words use ಮಾಡಿ write in your own words. Because if I have asked this many places where I've taken interviews, I've taken, tell me your objectives. Sir, I'm looking this, but what have you written here? Copy paste. So no negative point ತರ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So only what your objectives in, what are you looking at in very big. So if your first resume will be for articleship, right? You can say seeking articleship in a esteemed organization. Ad bardu, what can you contribute to the firm? What you can learn. ಎರಡು ಬರಿಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ನಂಗೂ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಫರ್ಮ್ಗೂ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ತರ ಬರಿಬೇಕು, ರೈಟ್? ಎಜುಕೇಶನಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಏನೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ನೀವು. Nowadays people write most recent first. ನಾನ್ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಹಳೇದೆಂದು ಹೊಸದು ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. Now people write most recent first. Work experience, if you have any. If you don't have any, you can ignore this. Articleship and volunteering details, again, if you have certification, awards and achievements, other interest, reference. Now because I will not take much time here, but in the place where I applied for articleship, many brilliant students compared to me have not gotten that firm. But now, I mean, when I spoke to them, it's like, you got placed there. How? But it's also power of the resume also. Now I was telling in class, 100 people are here. 100 people will have same or similar marks in 10th, 12th, CPT, foundation, everyone same marks irutte. How can you be different compared to others? You should fill in the achievements, award, certification option. This is your main point in your resume. This is where I got through. I had 10 points. I spoke about my best outgoing student in college. I spoke about my student union activities, being the president, vice president, cultural secretary of the college. So first ಅಲ್ಲಿ best outgoing student ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಬಂತು. Leadership qualities ಹೇಳಿದೆ in my second point. Then volunteering organization, I got a certification in something, ಅದು ಬಂತು ನನಗೆ. And then after that I won in inter college fests, ಅದು ಬರ್ದೆ ನಾನು. Right, I took part in various events, mock stock, moot court, best accountant, best manager, stress interview, moot, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ದೆ. I also won in fashion show, treasure hunt, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಾ? ಬೇಡ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ can ignore. Cooking without fire, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಡ. So whatever is required for the specific job you're applying, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೀ. And don't lie in your resume. If at all they ask for a confirmation, you should be able to provide that, but don't carry everything along. But in case they ask for confirmation, you should be able to give it to them. So if you can't simply lie, right? Okay, that's about resume. Meetings ಅಲ್ಲಿ things to keep in mind. Meetings ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Group of people sit together, agenda ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ agenda ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Meeting ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು agenda ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Right, for example, I will share the agenda of the next meeting, which I shared a similar one, but quickly, without wasting much time, I will share one agenda which I'm actually preparing now. Okay, I can hope you can see the screen. Simple agenda hinge barodu, right? Agenda andre ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ should actually see an agenda. So Bangalore Toastmasters Club agenda for meeting number 1350. We are having this meeting. So this is the meeting date ಏನು, theme ಏನಿದೆ, meeting theme ಏನಿದೆ, word of the day ಏನಿದೆ. We are using a new word every week. So this meeting happens every week. So we are learning a new word. So I came across this word. And then time 6:30 to 6:33. Sergeant at arms under the person who starts the meeting, who is taking the role. And ಅವನಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ರಿಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್. ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್, ಟೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡೇ, 3 ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಒಂದು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಹೂ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ಸ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್, ಪಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಹೂ ಇವಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸೆಷನ್, ಹಿಂಗಾಯ್ತು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇವಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೂಸ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಇವಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಟರ್ಸ್ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಇವಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಟರ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್. ಸೊ ಇವನ್ ರಾಜೀವ್ ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. ಇಫ್ you know Rajiv, so he is also evaluator this week, this Friday. So he is evaluating one speech. ಯಾವ ತರ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ he will evaluate. So ಟೈಮರ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಗ್ರಾಮರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಜಡ್ಜಸ್ ತರ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ರೋಲ್ ಟೇಕರ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಡೇ ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಅದು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ, ಟೈಮಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಏನೇನಿದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತವರೆಗೂ, ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ದ ರೋಲ್ಸ್ ದೇರ್, ಯಾರು ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಇದು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೀಕ್ಸ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಈ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಯರ್ ಟು ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್. ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಶೋಡ್ ಯು ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯೂಶಲಿ ದ ಚೇರ್ಮನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿ ವಿಲ್ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್. ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಬಂದಿದ್ರು, ಅಟೆಂಡೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ಏನೇನಾಯ್ತು, ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಏನೇನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಏನೇನಾಯ್ತು, ಡೆಡ್ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಏನೇನಿದೆ, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ರಿಟನ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಶಿಯಲಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೈನ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ formal or informal deliberate assembly of individuals called to debate certain issues and problems and to take decisions, held at definite place and time. Now in this agenda I have not written place because we have a different agenda. Website indane print ಆಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, but ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ to give to the role takers I prepared this. So ಎಲ್ಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಏನು ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ we'll have to write. Held for agreed duration on the agenda, ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Why meetings, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು? We should have a purpose, no? ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಒಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಚಾಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. Resolve challenges faced while planning a task, or bring out new strategies, or promote business or increase profitability, exchange ideas, coordination with issues of the agenda, communicate effectively with the group of organizations. So whatever, depending on why you are meeting, we'll have to plan the action also. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ತರ ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನಲ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಪರೇಷನಲ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್? ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವಿಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್, ದೊಡ್ಡವ್ರ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ನ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಚಿಕ್ಕವರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ವೀಕ್ಷಿಸಿ ಆಪರೇಷನಲ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಡ್ ಹಾಕ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವಿಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಅನ್ನೋರ್ದು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್, ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋರ್ದು ಆಪರೇಷನಲ್. ದ ಬಾಸಸ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್, ವರ್ಕರ್ಸ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಪರೇಷನಲ್. ಆದ್ರೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ AGM, ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಆಪರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅವರು, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಕಮಿಟಿ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಮಿಟಿ, ಇವರು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅವರು, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಪರೇಷನಲ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ರೈಟ್? It includes agenda. We saw actually what is an agenda. We saw minutes. I didn't show you, but ಏನ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಗಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಯಾರು ಅಟೆಂಡೀಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಬಂದಿದ್ರು, ಏನೇನಾಯ್ತು, ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಏನೇನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್. ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ 1 week ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ವಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ಟೈಮಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆತರ ಏನೋ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಸರ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಥೀಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ, ಈ 1 week ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಾಗಬೇಕು, ಈ ವೀಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಾಗಬೇಕು, ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏನೇನ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ. ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಅಸ್ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ವಿ ಡಿಡ್, ಏನೇನ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹಿಯರ್. ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಸಾ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೈಟಲ್, ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ಒಂದು ಟೈಟಲ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು. ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟ್, ಟೈಮ್, ಲೊಕೇಶನ್, ಯಾವತ್ತು, ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ಐ ಶೋಡ್ ಯು 6:30 to 6:33. Sergeant at arms will introduce the meeting. Presenter Sai Deepak ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ. ಡ್ಯೂರೇಷನ್ 6:30 to 6:33 or 3 minutes. ಸೊ ಟೈಮ್ ಏನ್ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸಿಗ್ನೇಚರ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅನ್ ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ವಿಚ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ಸೆಂಡ್ ಟು ಆಲ್ ದ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು ಹೆಡ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ ಕೊಡಕ್ಕೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ದ ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಏನೇನಾಯ್ತು, I had a full day class yesterday, so voice throughout ಹಾಳಾಗೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ಯಾವತ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಟೈಮ್ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು, ಲೊಕೇಶನ್, ಅಟೆಂಡೀಸ್ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಇದ್ರು, ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಏನೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇವ್ರು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಇವ್ರು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಅವ್ರು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಇವ್ರು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಅವ್ರು ಹಂಗ್ ಬೇಡ ಅಂದ್ರು, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ದು ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಯಾರು ಬರೋದು, ಯಾವ ಡೇಟಲ್ ಬರೋದು, ಯಾವತ್ತು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್. ಇದಂದ್ರೆ ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಇಷ್ಟ ಟೈಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅದು ಏನೇನಾಯ್ತು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ, ಸ್ಟೇಟಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಟೇಕನ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಡೇಟ್, ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೈಟಲ್, ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದು, ಯಾವ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್, ಆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್. ಡೇಟ್, ಆಸ್ ಪರ್ ದಿ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೆಲ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಸೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೋ ಡೇಟ್, ಫಾಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್, ಏನೇನಾಯ್ತು, ಅಂಡ್ ಸೈನ್. So usually I have not seen ATR being asked, but if they ask you minutes or agenda, ಒಂದು ಅವರೇ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯು ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಬರ್ತ್ಡೇ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಷನ್, ಆರ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಅಲುಮ್ನೈ ಮೀಟ್. ಅಲುಮ್ನೈ ಮೀಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಸಪೋಸ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮೀಟ್. ಯು ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲುಮ್ನೈ ಮೀಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಾಲೇಜ್. ಯು ಆರ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಟು ಸೆಂಡ್ ಅನ್ ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ಟು ಆಲ್ ದ ಅಲುಮ್ನೈ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಾಲೇಜ್. ಡ್ರಾಫ್ಟ್ ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ? ಈ ತರ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಸಿಚುಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರೆಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ವಾಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಯು ಡೂ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಕೇಸ್? ಕೀಪ್ ದ ಸಿಚುಯೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್, ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅಲುಮ್ನೈ ಮೀಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಹಾಫ್ ಅನ್ ಅವರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇದು ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಲೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಪ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನಾದ್ರು ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಬೈ ದ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಬೈ ದ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ವೋಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಯಾರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಏನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಇದು ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಅಜೆಂಡಾ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್. ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್. ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಹ್, we come to an end finally after almost 3 hours. So this is what is BCR. Simple. So whatever we have done, I took actually extra time in offline class because I gave more practical experiences and showed more practical aspects. Ella nan theoretically explain madabulu slides. You believe it or no, I have not explained a class using a single slide in offline class. Because online there's no other option, you have to show slide. Offline alli it was only conceptual explanation, book nodi explanation, marking, examples, or I've used the screen but to show the actual reports, actual mails, actual letters. Adikke I have shown, but not to show the actual content. I made it more practical and interactive. But online alli there's no other option, we have to follow that. But whatever we have done, both online or offline, keep one thing in mind. The explanation may be different, right? Now I have a different technique. Sometimes I crack a lot of jokes. Joke is not to make you laugh or something, it's to convey the point. Because ನೀವು funny incident ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀರ. That 3 incident, which is an actual incident, but it brought in a humor element also into that. Then you will never forget such jokes or examples. So online class alone ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ನಾವು remember to take on different examples. But end of the day, concept remains same only, no? So don't get confused if you have a fixed example, or if you don't, then probably whatever example I used in class, if any, ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು link it to the concept and right. And I think ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ active passive voice ಒಂದು ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ active voice, passive voice, direct speech, indirect speech. Many people in offline batch especially, they told, yeah sir, we know. But when I asked the question, many people made a mistake also. Some silly mistakes irutte. keep one thing in mind when you convert direct to indirect speech. One main thing in mind. Okay, let me stop sharing. One main thing, okay, while converting direct to indirect, what will you do? ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ ಮೊದಲು. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ರಾಮ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಸೀತಾ ಐ ಲವ್ ಯು ಅಂತಿದೆ. ನೀವೇನ್ ಬರೀತೀರಾ? ರಾಮ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಸೀತಾ ದಟ್ ಐ ಲವ್ ಯು ಬರೀತೀರಾ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಬರೀತೀರಾ? ನಿಮ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಆರ್ ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್, some for example, a pretty girl told me quotes ಅಲ್ಲಿ I like you. So when you convert ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನೀವು ರಾಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್? A pretty girl told me that she likes you ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅವ್ಳು ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ನನ್ನ, ಬಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರ್ದಾಗ she likes you ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಹೌದಾ? So always when you convert, this is a simple mistake which many people do. That's why I'm skipping it last. Simple mistake many people will do. A pretty girl told me I like you ಅನ್ನೋದೇನ್ ಬರೀತೀರಾ ನೀವು? ನಾಟ್ ನೀವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, many people. A pretty girl told me that she likes you. ಅವನ್ ಫುಲ್ ಖುಷಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ನನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ pretty girl ಅಂತ, ಬಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ she likes me, not you, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲು. She told me, correct? But she told me that I like you ಅಂತ she told me. There is one sender, one receiver of the information. When you convert, that sender receiver information should be as it is. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವಿಬ್ರೆ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, third person should not come in between. So what will the answer be? A pretty girl told me I like you ಅಂತಿದ್ರೆ, a pretty girl told me that she likes me. She likes me. It's between me and her, no? Don't bring you into picture. Third person bring ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, right? So ಈ ತರ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. So be very careful. Keep one thing in mind: who told whom, or she told him that she told. Okay, for example, some Shetty sir told Suhas, go get out of the class, or I like you, or I hate you very much. So the conversation happened between Shetty sir and Suhas. So when you write the answer, Shetty sir Suhas the relation maintain ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. He, him, she, her ಅಂತ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ you will lose marks there. So Shetty sir told him that he hates him. He hates you ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಡಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ, right? So ಆ ತರ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ be very very careful. And someone made a mistake some time back. Active voice ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? I like you, or I like to play football, ಆ ತರ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. So main emphasis will be on the subject. Object ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. But passive voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ object first ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ subject ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Don't get confused here, right? So emphasis will be given for the subject in active voice and will be given for the object during active voice, right? So this brings an end to VCR revision subject. Obviously, I think we will meet once again before your exam also. If you have any queries, any doubts, you can please discuss with me. We were supposed to finish at 2.5 hours, but we took 3 hours. But as long as you're benefited, it's okay. But any questions, any doubts, anyone? You can please feel free to unmute and ask. Or you can ask me offline also. I'm always available till your exam, till you write the exam. I'm always here. So in case you have any issues, you can please send a message to me also during studies. You come across a difficult active passive voice or direct indirect speech. You direct speech, he said to him, this is this and that. You don't know if this is the answer or this is the answer. You simply take a photo, send it to me on WhatsApp, or call and ask me. I will definitely help you in that. So till you write the exam, not only me but all the faculties from CAPS, we can guarantee that we will help you till you write the exams. But we are sure that you will pass with flying colors, right? Yes or no? You should be confident, or else first of all you should come from within. Not others should not tell you see easy pass agti antalla. You should feel from within that it's easy, anyways I will pass. You should come from within, right? Okay, so any questions? If there are no questions, we can wind up again. When I say no, I tell this everywhere. If I say any questions, in response bandila andre, it may be two things. One is you have understood everything, that there are no doubts at all. Or you have not understood anything, so there is no question of asking a doubt. Which one is it now? First or second? Understood something or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So will it help you in your exam now?
Yes, sir.
Keep this revision as the base. See, we have not covered everything exhaustively, right? We covered all the chapters, but to the basics itself. All the detailed explanation was done in class. No, link the class explanation, the examples used there, the examples used here, what revision did we do, use it while you revise, right? So having said that, the last question before I log off, I want everyone to answer now, not online or offline. So how much will you score in BCR?
Minimum 40.
Minimum 40.
Minimum 40?
Minimum 40.
Yes, no doubt only. Minimum 40. Maximum ಎಷ್ಟಾದ್ರೂ ಕೊಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ or extra ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. But how much will you score? Minimum 40. This should be your attitude. Don't think BCR ಕಷ್ಟ, difficult English ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಇದು ಏನು ಬೇಡ. BCR is 40. I know what I'm studying. I can easily study. I will score 40 andre you will get good marks. Don't, as someone told sometime back, 20s, 25, 30 andre you'll get 10, 15 only, because you will study only to the extent of 20, 25, right? So keep 40 as a target. I mean, it's not like you by heart and write them, but understand all the concepts properly, examples ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, and target should be minimum 40, right? ಈ confidence itkondu go ahead and study today, right? Okay, if there are no questions, we will sign off. Any queries, any issues, please, you can contact any of our faculties offline. We'll be very happy to help you, right? Anything else? Okay, so shall we log off? College ಇಲ್ದಿರೋರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Don't waste time. Avoid social media. Concentrate. By heart ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ. Correct ಆಗಿ ಓದಿ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರೀರಿ. Even if you don't solve too many questions, you should know how to solve the question first. Then you can start solving. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬರೆಯೋದ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ so of no use. Understand the logic and concept behind how to solve the question, then you can start solving the question, right? Okay, fine then. If there's nothing, we'll sign off. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Nice meeting all the online batch
Thank
guys. Hope to see you soon, right? Offline anyways I've met. Online, nice meeting you all. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.